listening to the
Hey, MFM. See you on the lips.
Back attack, dude.
Bon voyage!
Hey, yo, homies, good.
Slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
All right, welcome to The Bomb Hole, which is presented by Run Through a Wall Smelling Salts, best smelling salts in the business. Today's show is brought to you by Woodward, Bubs Naturals, and Nideker. Thanks for coming on board for the show. Co-hosting, we got Mr. Bob Plum in the studio. What's happening, Bob?
It's good to be back in the booth. New booth.
Still got it.
New booth.
New booth, new year, new me.
Yeah, us.
Yeah, new us. Yep. We just saged it for the record. Silk D, how you doing back there?
Doing great. Happy to be here. New stew.
How's the new zone feel?
New zone's feeling very cozy.
Love that. And we have Marie Francois in studio. Marie, what's happening? How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Stoked to be here.
We are psyched that you're here. Why don't you walk us through what we just did? Walk the audience through.
Well, you have a new zone. New zone. Who dis? Congrats. And I loved your idea to sage it. So we went ahead and saged it together with the sage from your property, right?
Yep, from the cabin. Yep.
Sweet.
So what's been happening this summer? Marie, what you been up to? I heard you went to Mexico.
Yeah. I just came back from an awesome trip to Mexico. I basically, after the season was done, I bought this shitty old van. I'm still trying to sell it, so maybe I don't say shitty old van.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Works
Top of the
great.
line.
Brand new.
Beautiful Astro van with only 350,000 kilometers on it.
Low miles.
Low miles, lady driven.
All highway. Not driven through Baja in Mexico on dirt roads at all, ever. Never touched dirt.
At all.
Ever.
And no racing down the dirt roads either. And yeah, had a great time. I left from Yuki on Vancouver Island, and like literally a few days before leaving, I was talking on the phone with my friend Sharka Pankachova, and I was just like, what are you doing? Like, she wanted to talk to me about some stuff, and I was like, I'm kind of busy right now. Like, how about I stop in Portland, and we can talk about it. Or you should just jump in. And she's like, oh, I'm kind of busy. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, busy with what? And she's like, yeah, you're right. I'm not busy. So I was like, yeah, no pressure. You don't have to come. You know, she's like, no, don't cut me out. I want to come. So she jumped in. She was supposed to be there for basically the drive down and then stay for 5 days around East Cape and then fly home. She had a flight, and then she never freaking left. she stayed the whole time, and yeah, we served. We had an amazing journey.
How's her etiquette in the water?
Her etiquette is great. She's a great surfer. We had to reel it in. Like, she's learning how to be a better surfer in the lineup. It was really funny. she, okay, to be fair, I dropped in on her once.
Okay.
But she had dropped in on me so many times. She deserved it. Payback.
You go reef chief on her, take a knee, just kind of let her know.
What happens if you drop in on somebody that you don't know when you're there?
Well, that depends what that person's like. You know, you never know when you're going to get some weird old crusty man that's going to yell at you for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened before. Not fun.
We talking left? We talking right? Which breaks we talking out there?
There was a lot of rights out there, and which was cool because most of the trips I've been on were like lefts, so it was cool to go right. I love lefts. I love to go either way.
Well, the good thing for Bob is it doesn't matter because he just goes straight.
I go straight.
Does this mean anything to you?
If I'm able to stand up, I'm going straight. If you're in front of me, you're going to get hit because I don't know what I'm doing.
Left, right? Fuck it, I'm going straight.
Yeah, exactly.
You can talk to Sharka about etiquette. She'll tell you what to do.
Sounds like my kind of break. What about you?
You know, I'm goof troops on the surf. I'm not much of an ambi turner. I'll go left. I prefer left.
So you can turn.
I can turn, yeah. I can turn. Oh, I got this brown surfboard. I call it the Brown Bomber. This thing's unbelievable.
The big
Foamy.
burgundy surfboard.
It's basically the big, nice burgundy surfboard. Yes, that's exactly what it is, a.k.a. the Brown Bomber. Okay, brief intermission from the bomb hole. I wanted to let you guys know that if you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, chances are in the show notes or the YouTube description, there is a link to everything that we're talking about. On every episode that we do, Holden Barth works really hard in finding the referenced videos or reference photos and putting them in the YouTube description. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in finding more information about anything we talk about. That's on every episode. Just want to let you guys know that. And if you're not already subscribed on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube, it helps us out a ton if you do that. And lastly, we got some new hats for your bonnet, for your dome ski. We're feeling really good about them. We have some corduroys. We got this camo hat with orange font. We got a run through a wall hat. All the hats have new profiles and they fit really well. We're really psyched on this new run, new manufacturer, new profiles. So if you want to look slick in the summer, get yourself some bombhole hats at bombhole.com. And let's get back to the show. Hope you guys enjoy this chat with Mofo. All right, let's get into it. You're from Quebec, which is obviously in Canada on the east. Yeah, let's talk about it. How was that? How was life growing up?
Life was great. I grew up in a really small town called Les Éboulements, which is, in the boonies. It's beautiful, but it's small. It's a bunch of little villages. I kind of lived between two small villages and grew up, with the influence of my two older brothers mainly. And my dad started snowboarding at 11. And basically my parents separated the year before. And my dad was like, I want to get back into skiing. And there's no way I'm just going to watch you guys play hockey and sitting on a cold bench. He's like, if we're going to do it, if you're going to do anything, I'm going to do it too. So that was pretty cool. It's like, if you help me around the house, clean, help me cook, do the laundry, get firewood, and like kind of mature up a little bit, then I'll buy you a season pass every year and get a job to pay for your gear. So that was kind of the deal. And yeah, we were every weekend at the mountain, and it was awesome. It kind of changed our lives for sure.
Which hill in Quebec?
Le Massif. Le Massif is, there was no park. We did petitions in high school to get a park and never worked. But it was still like one of the highest mountains in Quebec. So there was a lot of free riding, whatever, if you can call it. But like, we would like ride in the bush, and we would like just jump over ropes and like build our own. Like, we would find our little backcountry zones even behind our house and like build jumps. And so it was cool. We just didn't have like a park to ride every day.
I heard you grew up chasing around your brothers and stuff. I'd love to hear you elaborate on their role in your snowboarding kind of fundamentals.
They were definitely a huge influence, them and their friends. I mean, it was, so they're older than me, and we're pretty close. I'm 40, then one's 41 and the other one's 43. So then really close, but still at that age, nobody wants to ride with their little sister at all. But my dad was the one that was like, you know what, you guys, you gotta take her with you. I don't care. That's just how it goes. So then they were like, damn it. And then all their friends were so mean to me. They were like spitting on my board on the chairlift. Like, Sue could come up with the biggest, shittiest spit.
God. Oh, damn.
And I would just not say a word. I was really in my hole. I would just follow, and I would just like, I've talked about this before. Sometimes I'd pee my pants because they wouldn't wait for me.
Wow.
Commitment.
I was like, well, I can't stop. They're not going to wait for me. So sometimes you got to go.
Wow. That's respect.
It is what I had to do to keep up,
Mm-hmm.
And
Gore-Tex right into the boots, soaks it up, good to go.
luckily, it wasn't that waterproof. So some of it, you'd think some of it evaporated or ended up in my boots.
Little sponge
so
technology.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Oh, that's great.
But who cares? Commitment.
Did anybody catch on to the fact that happened a couple times? Did you get teased for that, or
No, I didn't tell anybody.
you could hide it?
I didn't tell anybody.
Well, now
it didn't happen often, but it's just to, it was just like they were boss and I was just following and they were like not, my brothers were really nice to me, but their friends were like, oh, you suck. Every time I try to hit something, but they were right. And at one point, I don't know, when I was 16, I was really scared. I was really timid when I was learning, but I was keeping up, but I was scared to try stuff. And at 16, I don't know what happened. And one day, I just was like, you know what, fuck it. And it's like the fear went away. Like the same day I did my first 720, my first backflip off like really shitty features too. It was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna be scared anymore.
You did your first 7 and your first backflip on the same day?
Yeah.
Damn.
Big day.
And my
That's
first
specs.
kickflip at 40.
Still got it.
That's amazing.
It was in grass. Let's not get too excited. But yeah, it was like kind of my evolution, and they definitely like shaped my life in that way.
I think it would be interesting to talk about the landscape around that time because, you know, it was a lot more uncommon to see a female snowboarder back then, I think, more than it is now. And I was told that you had some interesting stories about like people saying that you couldn't buy a board at a shop or something like that.
Oh yeah. You did your research, man. Yeah, it was a wild time, you know, like, and I mean, this is a big subject altogether, but at the time, I barely knew, like, there was a few other girls who snowboarded once in a while, but it was kind of a time where it was just not really common. And yeah, I walked into a shop, like, back in a big shop in Quebec. I don't need to name it, but I went to go buy a skateboard with my own money. You know, I was 15. And the guy looked at me. He's like, nah, don't. Yeah, I'm not selling you a skate. You're not going to skate. He was like, yeah, he's like, I just don't bother. Like, girls don't skate. And then, like, my dad was there, and he's like, he had to come in and be like, no, she's going to buy the skateboard, you asshole. Like, you know?
Damn.
It's just kind of, and, like, it was just the era, right? It was the era, like, even later, this was, like, when I was competing already. I was already at X Games and stuff, and there was, like, a huge comp in Quebec that I flew back for. And I was on the team that was putting on the event. And I go to register. It's like, no girls. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, no girls in the comp. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah. I'm like, he's like, no, there are no girls, just dudes. And I was like, can I do practice? He's like, no. And I was like, what? And like, meanwhile, there's like 12-year-old boys knuckling the freaking jump. And like, I was just at X Games the week before or something. And I was like, dude, but like back in the days, it was accepted. It was like, and even like after, I didn't even think much of it myself because you're so used to take your whole, right? And to be like, you're lucky when you get invited, you know? So, and yeah, even talking to people after, during the comp, like, oh, you're not doing it? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not allowed. It's so weird. Like, and I was at least 21, 23. So it's the culture, right? It's so much has changed. And I think right now I'm so fired up on the level of women in sports like snowboarding and skateboarding, surfing, all of it. And I think we're seeing the first generations of women that haven't been told their whole youth that they suck, that haven't been, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that have been given almost equal opportunities and being supported and encouraged. And I was too, you know, like so many people were amazing to me, but it's just so exciting to see today. And I think like every interview in my life was like, when are women gonna bridge the gap? Like, when are they gonna get better? And it's so annoying, so redundant, but like it's happening. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
it's incredible. I love it. I love to see it. And I think it's exciting.
Also, it's really good to bring up that period in time too, because it reinforces why like Jess's uninvited event is so rad, or things like, you know, it really reinforces like, hey, dipshits, this is why it's rad, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, there's still so much to be done for sure. And I think events like the Uninvited and like every initiative, any video project, any contest, and even like team managers putting more than one woman on their team, all of it is so important. So yeah, thanks to all the people who are doing that. And I think, you know, to be fair, I don't want to blame all the men for doing that. Like I think it was just a societal thing, you know? Like
100%.
it was just like, it wasn't unacceptable to not invite girls at anything because just that's society. Like we've lived through like freaking centuries of, you know, living in that way that females at a certain roles that was expected from society. So it was just, I don't want to blame men, but it's so cool that it's changing. And now, like, dudes are recognized in the potential when you treat people equally, whatever the gender or whatever the background. And that's what it comes down to, really, you know.
Did you feel like when you were coming up in that era that there was limited spots for a female snowboarder and that it was really hard to get into that position? And then once you were there, it was like you were really having to try hard to hold on to your spot. Whereas now maybe there's more spots available for female snowboarders on the team, more opportunities.
For sure. I mean, I didn't really feel it because, like I said, like you were lucky when you were invited. Like, you know, it felt like you're privileged. And I was one of the lucky ones, right? So sometimes I was blinded by that because I was actually invited most of the time. But like the couple, let's say like the people right behind me that weren't, I wasn't really putting myself in their shoes. But a lot of them were not invited. And now you're seeing like teams like North Face, how many female snowboarders they have on their team. Like, it's awesome. Like, I love to see that. It's changed so much. But yeah, it also created a state of competition between us, like that I didn't really notice at the time either. But like, you know, we just accepted that it was just one girl per team, you know, and that's one girl per video project. And that was already like, big deal for you, like, you know, you should be grateful. And so it did create a bit of competition between us. And after like years of going out there filming, and now like, you know, now it's funny, like when we did Full Moon, before Full Moon and all that, we're like, you know what, we all know how to sled. We all know, like, we all have support now. Like, we all know where the spots are. We all know how to build a jump. Like, we don't need no dudes. We can actually go do this on our own. Like, that's pretty freaking awesome, you know? And that's when you're like, you didn't realize at the time growing up and meeting all these competitors that they're going to end up being all your best friends, which is pretty cool. So, and that's why, like, for you guys, you're used to have all dudes on the team, right? So it's like, did you feel the competition even? Like, you did, but like,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
it's different.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like competition when I was coming up. That's for sure. I didn't feel like I was like competing against my peers. I was just like, I want to fucking do the best shit I can, you know.
Your spot wasn't on the line. It felt like every year.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't my mentality. Didn't feel like that. But I'd like to go back to like how you went from learning backies and sevens, and then how did you get a spot on a team, or how did you get sponsored?
Well, I think it happened really slowly and really unknowingly. Like, of course, when I was a kid, like watching snowboard videos, I thought that was so freaking rad and kind of a dream, but not really an attainable dream. I never thought it was my future at all. I never thought I was good enough. I already thought at 18 you're too old to ever make it if you're not already. Like, you know, it's crazy, like, how your perception is when you're young. And then, but I love to compete. Like, I love to go to events and meet other people who love to snowboard. I love to push myself in that way. I love to see new mountains, new places. So that's why I kept doing it. And, like, my two brothers were so good at snowboarding, and I don't know why they were so much better than me, but they never pursued that. And I think they started working really young in construction for my dad's company. So then they got carried into the serious life and working hard, and much respect for that. I guess I got carried away. But no, I went to college in Quebec for 3 years. I did this program in applied ecology. And during that time, I was doing like contests on the weekends, local events. I think I did my first US Open during that time. And yeah, I drove down there in my car, slept in my car. It was so fun. It was so great. By myself. I was so shy. I didn't speak English. I hit somebody's car in the parking lot doing donuts. Scratched his truck. It was bad. And then...
Obviously, no apology, right?
I apologize. I said sorry a million times. I even offered money. I was like, I have no money. I hope he doesn't say pay me. Oh no, we became friends in the end. And then I guess I did my internship for that program at the Vancouver Aquarium, and since it was out west, I was like, you know what? Yeah, before I get a real job in my field that I studied, because that was my plan, I'm just gonna spend one winter in Whistler and experience it, like see what the POW is in the big mountains. And I had spent a summer living in my car in Whistler already, but I only rode one day because I was working every day to pay for school.
What were you doing for a job?
That summer, I was housekeeping at the Glacier Lodge. Yeah, I worked every day this summer except the one day, and I went up to Camp of Champs, and it was awesome. I was like, this is the best place. Like, even like rolling up to Whistler my first time and like seeing like this guy on a skateboard and his leather shoes and a suit going to work in a restaurant, and this mountain biker and like other people in their snowboard gear. And like in July, I was like, this is my place. This is paradise. I loved Whistler. And yeah, I entered a few comps during that winter. And then because before that I was getting like maybe like discounts on boards. I probably had a free snowboard from Rome at this point. I think Nick Rochon, shout out to Nick Rochon, he had hooked me up with my first free snowboard, a big like 156 stiff Anthem. It was awesome. And then, I did some events during that winter. And then one day I was working at the Keg Steakhouse in Whistler, and that's when Derek Height from Oakley, Canada, he was a TM at the time, and he walked in the restaurant and he's like, I've been looking for you for a year, and I want you to be on the team. I have this amazing contract for you for $500 a year for 3 years. And I thought that was the best freaking shit ever.
Cheddar bisque.
That's 3-year, $500 a year.
Locked in.
Oh my God.
And seriously, I was like, this is insane. You're actually going to pay me to snowboard. Like, you're actually going to give me money. I didn't know people made money snowboarding. And I was like, yeah, if you want to get ripped off, I'm signing right now. But Derek was awesome because he brought me to Super Park that year. That was my first Super Park. That's when I met Bridges. Shout out to Bridges. Bridges helped me a lot. He's always had my back. Thank you. He gave me the ability to travel, and it all went up from there, I guess.
That's fantastic. I was speaking with Bridges, and he said that when you, to rewind to the U.S. Open, you drove down from Quebec, slept in your car in the winter in Vermont, in Stratton, which is just like, you breezed over that, but that's pretty gnar. And then you weren't invited, but you barged the contest, maybe? Is it, or you?
It's an open contest.
It's an open. Oh yeah, good point. Good point. It's an open.
I wasn't invited in the rail jam, and he got me in.
Okay, and how'd that go?
It was awesome. I don't really remember. I just remember he was like, I was doing practice for the rail jam, even though I wasn't invited. Maybe I barged that. Probably didn't even know. And he was like, you're in. You should come tonight. And and it was.
What year was this? Do you know?
I'm not good with years.
Who won the rail jam? Do you remember? Travis Rice. Was it the year Travis won? Travis won a rail jam at U.S. Open.
Wow,
around then.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember. And the years mix up with me too. I think Leanne won it for the women. I think I may have won best trick or something. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh, we bust him down.
I don't know. I feel like I never did good. Like I've competed for years, like I've done a lot of X Games, Nude Tour, and I've always done top 5 but never won shit. It's pretty amazing. Like not always top 5, but often.
Chris has never broke top 10, so I mean you got him there.
Pretty good.
It's actually not true.
Oh really?
Did you break top 10?
Yeah, we've got some results.
Oh,
We got some results.
I see some. I see some.
We got some results.
Trophies.
Yeah,
Are
we're
these
good.
yours?
We're not going to get into it. We're not going to get into it. Don't worry
Your
about
bomb
it.
hole's coming up next.
Yeah,
Yours.
maybe. Maybe. But yeah, I actually forgot to do the intro, guys. We're train wrecks. Should I throw it in right here?
Yeah, let's do it right now.
So just, to do the intro, if you're already listening, you're like, who's Marie? Well, she's from Quebec. She's one of the most influential snowboarders of all time. She's won Rider of the Year, Video Part of the Year, Reader's Choice of the Year, Baker Bank Slalom, Dirksen Derby. She's an award-winning film producer. She's filmed iconic video parts that embody all aspects of snowboarding, as well as an activist for climate change and much more. And most importantly, a gem of a human. So there's the synopsis of Marie. So you have won stuff. You're talking about never winning. You've won a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I never won contests.
Okay.
I'm not a great competitor. That's
Okay.
fine.
Let's go back to, so U.S. Open, and then year 2, you're getting boards from Rome. Or you got a board from Rome. And then how did it progress from there? Oakley, $500 a year contract.
So it was a 3-year contract, $500 each year. So it was for $1,500.
Yes. And then I went to Super Park that year. He brought me to Super Park with Craven and Jérémy Cloutier and Matt Dano. This is going back. And we were at Super Park. It was so funny too. Those guys. First day, we go up. It's 9 a.m. No one's on the hill. It's and right away, straight to the biggest jump. And we're like, yeah, we're all hitting it. It was awesome. And I was like, well, I don't know this. I guess that's what we do. Just follow them into it. It's great. But then it was during that Super Park that somebody was like, yeah, I hear Hannah Beeman makes $30,000 a year. And I was like, no shit.
Little pay
Holy
difference there.
hell. That's insane.
That is insane. I was like, what? That's impossible. And it was just funny. So then, I mean, not after that, but eventually, I was nobody, so for me, 500 was great. That's, Hannah Beeman was already real well established. And, but after that year, I think I was doing better. And eventually I told Derek, I was like, you know what? Can we negotiate? And I was like, if I do good at this, I came up with this formula, and which is not like me, but I was like, if I do better, can we change the terms just a little bit more so I can travel more and I can actually don't have to work full time? And he was like, yeah, and he made me sign an extra year, and then we got a little improvement. I mean, it was not $30,000, let's be honest, but it was better. So
Nice.
cheers to him. He made me believe that there was something possible, which was really cool. So thanks, Derek.
To me, it seemed like when you really broke out on the scene, from my perspective, was the first Rome video. That was Any Means, right?
Any Means, yes.
Yeah. Was that your first video part you ever filmed?
Yeah, for sure. And that was all because of John Cavan. Probably the biggest shout out ever. Because I had been on the team for a while, but, when they decided to make that movie, the first team movie, we had a big meeting in Vermont and with all the riders, and he was like, you know what? I'm telling you all, Marie's going to have a full part, and I want you guys to support her 100% and whatever she needs. I just want you to know that she's equal priority as all of you. And that's I was embarrassed even. I was like, oh, God. Can I step up to this pressure? But it was so cool. I've never felt in a snowboard environment that I was equally important as the dudes. And it was really rad because, I don't know, those guys kind of followed through with that. And I mean, all those dudes I filmed with, LMP, Max, Legend, Yando, Fin, Will, they're freaking, they would have done it anyways. They're so amazing. But yeah, that was, and I had no pressure. This was my first year filming, and we were extra motivated, nothing to lose. And it was, yeah, one of my favorite, probably the best part ever that I've filmed. I was really stoked on My Little Things part too, but the first is just special.
Totally. And then just to add to that, being treated like an equal, I was talking to Kevin, and he was saying that, the French Canadian dudes were also, they're known for being things are proper. we do things the correct way. We like if you're doing a backflip, it's going to be square and it's going to be 90 and you're coming straight off the end. And he was saying that they were, critical of your tricks as much as they were anybody else's, and to the point where they're like, "This is kind of gnar." Did you feel that at all? Or
I felt great. I did.
yeah,
I don't know. I just felt lucky.
Yeah.
I felt lucky. I wasn't like, oh, they're harsh. I was like, dude, nobody's been ever this nice to me.
cool.
So that was pretty sick.
Kevin said your front 270. Let's talk about the front 270 on BHS, because you said you did it a bunch of times.
What do you want to know? Yeah, it was it was a good day. We hit 3 spots that day. I had 3 shots that day, I think. It was probably my best day in the streets ever. And we just showed up. I didn't even know about the history of that spot either. I knew it was a spot, but I didn't know what had been done. Who did the front 270? Was it JP?
JP.
JP. Yeah, I didn't know that. Sorry, JP. But they were so supportive. Like it was like we had to slingshot into it, and Max. Yeah, I think it was Max and Yan that were there. And at first I may have had 4 shots that day. We did the creeper rail, and then. And then we were doing the front two. I was like, this is a small rail. I think I can gap 270 this easy. At the time, I didn't have that many tricks. I was only spinning front side. Is crazy. I didn't even know the names of the grabs. Like I was just kind of loose, man. I was definitely a hooker. And to me that was so easy. And like you asked me to do this now, I'd be probably scared. I could do it. Probably could do it.
You weren't just spinning front side because you had a baller switchback 7 in that part.
I just learned that. I had just learned that. I think this is the year that somebody was like, I think Natasha Zurek called me out. She was like, you got to spin other ways. You only spin front side. And she's a queen of a huge bag of tricks, right? She's doing like switch straight airs over the biggest jumps and like could spin all 4 ways. And I was like, damn, you're right. And then I started like learning the other ways. It was pretty cool. I really respect Natasha.
Were you learning on the spot, like at the jumps, at the rails? Or were you training in the park and then going practicing the trick, or they're like trying to do the tricks at the spots? Because you said you were a hucker, so.
Yeah, I mean, I was a hucker. I think my first US Open, I was straight airing the first jump and trying front 10 on the second, because I knew I didn't have enough tricks for the 4 jumps.
Oh my.
But just for fun, right? I was just like, I'm not going to win. So, like, this is a good jump. Like, I'm going to try to do this, because we didn't have that sick of jumps in Whistler. But the switchback 7, I had just started to spin switchback 7 in the park in Whistler, I think the week before. But then I learned it during that Miss Super Park. Mm-hmm. It was my first time learning it.
And what about the front 9 in that part? Had you done that one before too?
No. I mean, I had like hugged the front 10 without grabs and stuff. But like, it's cool. A lot of people call me out along the way. It's like when I was really young, somebody was like, dude, you got to grab. I was like, oh, you're right. I do. I just don't think I can. And he was like, yeah, you can. And I just tried. And I was like, yeah, it's way easier, actually.
All right, we got a guest question from Will Levine. Here we go.
No way.
Hello, Marie-France. This is Will. I have a quick question for you. During our early Rome days, we would go to Vermont a few times a year to hang at the Rome office. And some night during our time there, after a few beers, we decided to go to the Burton headquarters. Could you tell us about what happened there? I'm looking forward to hear the podcast. I hope everyone is doing good. Cheers.
Wow, you're making me snitch. Will, I love Will. He's the best. Like, we had great times. Yeah, we we went to the Rome house and TP'd their office. Not to the Burn house. We went to the Rome house and to the Rome office. Then we, at night, went to the Burn house and TP'd the outside of the office, like the trees and stuff. I had forgotten about this. I was not really involved.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah,
Allegedly.
quotes.
Purposes.
Oh, that was funny. I feel like there was a little bit of a battle between Rome and Burton at the time, clearly. But
Yeah, the two Vermont companies.
yeah,
Rome had a sick team.
Yeah, that
team
era
was
of Rome is
sick.
like magic.
yeah,
You
it
guys had
was
such a good crew.
it was really special. Like to be a part of that. Like I said, the first board, the Rome board I got was a sample. Like it was a brown, nice burgundy snowboard without a graphic. And then we all grew with the brand, during those times. And it was cool because Rome at the beginning, they were giving boards to everybody. Like in Quebec, like every kid who snowboarded decently, like I feel like that they had a Rome snowboard. And they were giving them. And they were just rad, like it was really the essence of snowboarding. Like get in a van, go get clips and party. Like the premieres are amazing. Like we just go to kids' house parties and crowd surf people. LMP love to go to those parties and crowd surf people to the ceiling, like really like like smash their face on the ceiling. It was so fun. Like I still do it sometimes thinking about him. Just did it last week. And yeah, we had like a premiere in Tijuana. It was just epic. And I think the owners, like, of the brand, like were really living it. And then they were supporting us to, be a part of that culture, and it was really a magical time. And like it definitely that part in any means is what put me on the map for sure, entirely.
We have hang on. We got a guest question from Jess Camara. Let me find it.
Hey guys, it's Jess here with a guest question for Marie. I could go on forever about her, but I'm gonna try not to embarrass myself and expose myself as the super fan and stalker that I am and was the entire time I was growing up. But I want to ask you, Marie, about the first time you swept the Riders Pole Awards in Vegas. I remember watching it like on the internet or on Live Fuel TV, and like the whole Rome team, staff, crew like just stormed the stage, and it was just the most like triumphant moment. I'll never forget it. I remember what you were wearing that night because I'm a fucking creep, but I just want to know, can you tell us what that was like and what the rest of that night was like, and just some crazy story from the Vegas trade show that year that you won all 3 Trans World Awards?
Oh, Jess, I love you. She's amazing. Yeah, I didn't realize she was creeping on me that hard. That's so awesome. That was really special for sure. Like to have like so many people from Rome were in that room. It was at Vegas and at the Hard Rock, and that was like golden days of snowboarding. Like the parties were awesome. Like it was so wild. And yeah, I don't know, like just the fact that they all came on the stage with me and just really, that was unheard of. I never thought I would live that, and I'm just so grateful for that whole crew. Like it was so epic to work with that brand for like more than 10 years, and how much they supported. Like that was like they really lifted the culture, I think, like for that era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was something else. It was a wild night. It was great.
Yeah, did you guys get tuned up?
When did we not get tuned up during those days? It's like, of course we did. Yeah, it was.
So
awesome.
you won Reader's Choice, which is the coolest one because it's voted on by the fans. You won Rider of the Year, and you won Video Part of the Year. And it seems to me that the timeline before that, you were relatively unknown. You went from like it was I don't want to say overnight celebrity, but damn near.
It was quick. Yeah, it happened quickly. And like I said, it was all from Kevin being like, you know what, we're giving you this opportunity. Because no doubt, none of this would have happened. I could have been on the team, but how many brands have females on their team, and males, or don't do anything with them? And I think nowadays, especially, like you're expected to create your own success. But the fact that they're like, no, we're making a team movie. We're going to elevate you guys all together. And like that made such an impact for me, at least.
Did you win those awards and go back to the skate shop and knock on the door and be like, hey, what's up with that skateboard now, buddy? Can I get in that contest now there, dude? Come on.
I'm still a shitty skateboarder. But maybe if you sold me a skateboard without making me feel like shit, I would be better.
Be doing laser flips right now if it wasn't for that fucking
Yeah.
guy. So did your life change after that? Like with all the accolades, did brands show support? You got on Red Bull shortly after that?
Yeah, got on Red Bull. It all happened quickly. Got on Red Bull. I was really well supported the next few years. But it with that came the downside too, right? I was just so like as a pretty much a nobody, and like made no money, like had just quit my job really. And then with that came the pressure. And the next year I filmed another part, but I was already burnt out. I was already like, I think I'm not built for that high pressure environment. Like, I look at Jamie and the amount of, I don't know how she's done it for all these years, like just pushing it and like competing at that level with that amount of pressure. Like I felt it really quickly for me. And like I was obsessed with snowboarding growing up. I remember in my agenda, like, your school book, like I would just spend a whole class just writing snowboarding. I had just pages of just writing the word snowboarding. I was just so into it. And I never thought I could get sick of it. But like, maybe not so much the first year, but by the third year after that, like even ask Kevin, like we would be out there filming and I would be like, I'd be begging to go home, to see my boyfriend at the time, or like just take a break. And he's like, oh, it's gonna be sunny, maybe Thursday afternoon. Like, gotta hit that window. And I just needed a break. I was missing like the days where you go snowboarding with your friends and actually learn tricks. Like now you know how it is. Every day you snowboard, you're expected to do something sick, and you're not getting those days to actually try new things and get better. And like, yeah, that really affected me quickly. Yeah, and then I'm lucky though that I had enough support that over the years, I learned to manage it a little better and like be able to say no. And actually, the more sponsors is not always better. Like maybe having a few solid ones that really believe in you and that like, you have the right amount of commitment and you can give them what they want, but also you have time to do what gives you good balance. So that was really cool, and that took me a long time to figure that out. And I also like, we're maybe skipping steps here, but this is what really quickly, like as soon as I got success, I felt like quickly that I was like, okay, thank you, this is great. But then I felt like almost like it was too self-centered. I felt like conflicted too, because I was like, I'd studied an environmental cause. I thought that's what I was gonna do for work and have like a pretty humble livelihood. And then next thing you know, I'm out there traveling the world, like, and promoting consumption and consumerism. That was just so conflicting to me. Like, even writing for Red Bull at the time was conflicting. And I was like, oh, I like this, but I feel like I want to do things that give back or just not all about me and that are just more than snowboarding. And that's what led me to do the Little Things project. But I knew that would not be kind of well received, or I thought. I was just like, because at the time snowboarding was really all about snowboarding. It was more snow porn. Like snowboarding now has evolved so much. There's so many different branches and aspects of it. But like at the time, like even I pitched it to a few of my sponsors and they were like, yeah, sounds cool, but not really.
That was the first of a kind of storytelling in snowboarding.
I mean, I don't think it was the first by any means, but it was like, I was like, after that, I'm probably going to lose all my current sponsors. And that's cool. because you know what? Like my heart is, I need to get more. Like I need to do more than just snowboard for me and just try to be the best. So, you know, it wasn't fulfilling me anymore. And but the fact that I knew that it wasn't going to be well received really pushed my snowboarding. I was like, it needs to be good for people to respect it. And yeah, that was like probably like it was one of my favorite parts too, or second favorite.
Well, what was the logic behind giving yourself first part in your own?
Did I do that?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't think of it that way. That sounds really cocky. Yeah. But it wasn't a video part.
Or I mean,
project.
but your footage, the way it was laid out, was
maybe it was that.
If you're looking at it from like a snow porn mentality, which is what this brain is, it's the first part, even though it is docu style. It's.
I guess I didn't want the viewer maybe. Well, I didn't edit it either, but I was definitely in charge in a way of what was going on. I just wanted the viewers to get hooked and to be not, oh, this is just an enviro film and like turn it off. And I think a lot of people didn't even watch it, but I made sure to hit up Pat. I was like, can you put my part online? And then maybe it will make them want to see the movie. Like, you know, but yeah, that, and also I think a lot of the other riders didn't actually film for the project. We filmed a week here and there, but like they were legends, like Megan O'Brien, Jonathan Moore, Tamo. They're not like, it was just stories of snowboarders, but they were not actively filming. So maybe that's why too.
You got some accolades for that. People were into it when it came out, right?
Yeah, surprisingly. And it created this whole switch, you know, just like when I was like, I'm going to follow my heart, whatever happens. And then I thought I was going to lose all my sponsors, but then it led to me getting on. I mean, I got Rider of the Year for that, after that, I think. And that was 10 years after the first time I got Rider of the Year. And after that, like, that led to me getting on Arbor and Patagonia. And it was just, like, it's incredible. I'm so lucky to be aligning myself with brands that I truly believe in and respect, like, entirely. And yeah, I mean, it's not always the case, as you know, and especially when you're like starting off, like, you know, whoever offers you support, and when you're broke, and you take it, you know. And especially as a female, I don't know, I didn't think you could shop around. I was like, yeah, these people are helping me, I'm gonna support that. So yeah, this was a really good learning era for me. And this is the only reason I'm still snowboarding, like, I mean, at this level today. It's just...
Slap some respect on being bold and following your heart, because it's just to put like the consumer or the listener in your space. Like when you're getting paid by brands like Red Bull and like all these things, and it's hard to walk away when you know how hard it is to make $1, you know, swinging a hammer, so to speak, you know? So I feel like it's really fucking bold to walk away from brands like that. And I'm kind of curious specifically, like, how did it go with Red Bull? You know, because I'm sure financially that was great. How did the parting ways go?
Yep, that's a good question. And people always assume that Red Bull was my highest paying sponsor, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Both Oakley and Rome were paying me more at the time.
Yeah.
And but Red Bull, you know, it had been coming, right? I felt like, you know, I wasn't really fulfilling their kind of format, like to be like world record, like big contests, like results. And
didn't they want you to be the first one to do a front 10 or something and make a deal out of it?
We tried.
Yeah.
That was really nice of them. We went to Hood and they built me a private jump to do the front 10. But then we showed up the first day and the jump was crap. And like, even I brought my boyfriend at the time, who was really sick snowboarder, Andre. Shout out to Andre. And he could barely do a 7 on it.
Sorry, I hit him with a homie's cook. I meant to hit him with an air horn. Sorry, continue.
Shout out, Andre. But like, you know, we were not, and Jeremy was there too. They were sick park riders, and it was not it. So then they were going to work on the jump, and then it rained for 5 days. So I felt so bad about that. Like, you know, when a brand puts so much money and energy into doing something like that, hosting you, like lodging and stuff. So but it's okay. They were great. You know, I don't want to put them down because they supported me for more than 10 years. And for the most of those years, it was awesome. Like, you know, they gave me so many opportunities, but like deep down value wise, I was struggling because I was going a different way. And they knew that and I knew that. And then when I left, it was kind of mutual. Like, I think if I was like, yeah, I know where this is going. And thank you for the time, you know, trying to be graceful about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're on Vancouver Island, like doing
raising
all kinds
chickens.
Eating granola.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it totally made sense. And that's why I'm like, great. No harsh feelings. Thank you. Gratitude.
I want to, that's well said, very eloquent. I want to rewind for a second, get into a guest question from John Cavan. Here we go.
Hey Marie, it's your old buddy Cavan. I was wondering if you could talk about the very first Trans World Team Shootout at Bear. Maybe a little about becoming nocturnal there and the big-ass house we all had to stay in and the grocery shopping and how much you love filming at night. Hope all's well.
Oh, man. Kevin, my man. Yeah, the team shootout, they were really motivated that year. They're like, we need to win. So they're like, whatever it takes. And they had lined up with Bear Mountain. They were really accommodating too. And they decided to shoot everything at night. And so it was hectic. It was like, okay, like sleep most of the day, but you don't really sleep during the day. And like you start filming, I think at 1 a.m. And like we'd just be from 1 till 5 just shooting. And they had a really great setup. And they did win. They did win that year. But like I remember like, it was maybe not my favorite. There was this step-up jump that over rocks. You know the one.
I watched the video this morning, by the way, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Of what?
The team shootout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't see a shot of me in that because I hit it and then landed in the rocks. Like,
oh, shit.
I saw Aki, I think, was hitting it, and another. They were almost all hitting it, and then I was like, I think I got that. It looked like a really big compression, and like next thing you know, I'm upside down, like my back in the rocks. It's funny, but yeah, they had built really sick jump too, and like all kinds of shit. The containers, LMP he had a cover maybe from that. Yep. Yeah. It was a really rad event. It just shows how much like Cavan and Rome, the whole Rome crew was like really motivated and really going for it during those days, and the whole team too. Like Bjorn was there. Bjorn, man,
Yeah, Cab 10 or something.
oh my god,
Yeah.
he's an animal, and he was like. His ankle was so messed up, and he was like taping it every night before riding, and he was hitting everything and in so much pain. And the landing, he's like screaming. And I was like, dude, are you okay? He's like, it's what you gotta do. Wow, he's a machine. And like, yeah, respect to Bjorn. That it was really cool, you know, to like get to see those guys firsthand, and like Bjorn was already a legend, and yeah.
Was it brick at night? Because I was watching the Back Rodeo 7 that Ike did on the step up where you sounds like you got mangled. Yes. And I'm like looking at landing, looks like ice.
It's ice.
I was like, holy shit, these guys are dogs.
During the day it was slushy, so the night was rock hard. And so it's fun. Super fun.
We did that the next year.
Yeah, we did, Bob, didn't we?
We did.
How did
I
we-
remember there was a lot of pressure on those shoots because everybody's trying to get the cover. Everybody wants to win.
Who got the cover, Bob?
Jed.
Yeah, who shot it?
Me.
You did.
Yes, you did, brother.
Yeah. We went after Rome the next year.
Yeah, we had to come
It's okay.
take you
It's
down.
okay.
But I
to copy.
remember, there was a lot of pressure there, and then also just kind of going back to where you were saying when you got hooked up, and then there was all that pressure on you. And I feel like during that era, it's so different from how it is now, because back then it was like you're going on rail trips, right? You're not snowboarding like you were saying how you do now with Instagram. Like it seems like a lot of people just snowboard and then film a little bit, or back then it was like rail trip. Okay, jumps, 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 jumps. So if it's snowing, you're not really riding POW, you're going and building jumps. Early season, you're going on rail trips, right? You take like a little 5-week break. You're probably not really boarding. You're recharging, and then you go on another trip. So you don't actually end up snowboarding that much.
Yeah, exactly. It was especially not everyone filmed at a time. Like there was the contest people that were just doing contests, but like you were, December, you were always filming. You'd show up at X Games in January, like from a rail trip, like, and you're like, I haven't hit a jump in a month, man. And like, and it really showed, like, if you're able to ride park before a freaking slope style comp, so much better. But if you're not, like, you just get a couple runs of practice and that's it. And like, it was rad. But at the time, like, everybody did, I mean, the people who were filming did everything, the contest. And so there was not a lot of time for riding and like getting better and getting those days with your friends, like what truly like shapes you as a snowboarder, right? The culture, like this is what I loved about snowboarding, is that there is no structure. I mean, at least back then there was no coaches and I love that. And I mean, it's still great, but we had the best era, I think.
I feel like you'd be a pretty sick coach. What do you think?
No.
You don't think so? You got like, I don't know, you seem pretty happy, you know? Right?
That's all it takes.
If you just need to be happy.
You got a bag of tricks.
You know what? I'll say life coach. That's
Life
right.
coach.
She's life coach. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she smudged the new
Yeah, she
boots.
gave us a tutorial on how to smudge, how to do some smudging.
Is it smudge or smooge?
No, it's smudge.
You can say smooch.
But going back to what you just said too, I think about that too, where people are like, well, yeah, you should be ready for slopestyle. You hitting a bunch of rails in the streets. It's like, that doesn't translate. We're talking about, riding down a strip of snow on a wooden drop-in ramp with a board that's been riding down concrete stairs that doesn't even fucking turn right. And then you just heave this pile of shit onto a rail and try to slide down. Like, it's not helping you for X Games slopestyle.
Not really. Not really.
100%. All right, we're going to take a quick break and talk to you about one of my favorite places on planet Earth, Woodward Park City. Now, summer's right around the corner. They got all types of camps going on up there. Starting June 10th, they got mountain bike camp, they got skateboard camp, BMX, scooter, parkour. You can do multi-sport. And they got all kinds of top pros coming through for all these camps. Also, if you want to hone in your skills up at Woodward Park City, you want to learn backside rodeo 720s, but you got no snow, you can do it into the foam pit. Get the rollerboard going, chuck some backies. You can always work on honing your craft, even into the foam pit, all summer long. They also have the Loam Pass if you're just interested in riding the dirt via chairlift access with all the mountain bike trails they have up there. They have a beautiful skate park, both indoor and out. So be sure to check out Woodward Park City if you're in the Utah area this summer. We've been going for a while, and we have not done a run-through-wall smelling salt, Bob.
Are you allowed to do something like this? I know you were telling us you studied, what was it again?
Applied ecology. Granola ecology, yeah.
Do people that eat granola, do they do snelling salts?
Snailing salts.
These are sustainably sourced.
Oh, okay.
They're snailing salts. Therefore, I'm allowed.
Yeah. Just pinch the middle of it.
Oh, I went deep. Wow.
Oh,
That'll wake you up.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's a bingo.
There it is.
Damn.
I keep trying to get a box of these to my house, but Grandy's never texts me back.
Yeah.
Some sort of shipping issue.
Hey, do you want to come guest host the bomb hole? Sure. Can I get some smelling salts?
Woo.
Crickets.
Who is this?
Yeah. New number,
texting me?
who dis?
Labeled as do not answer in my phone.
It's a one-hit wonder, right?
I mean,
No,
it's
no,
still
hit
got
it
some
again.
juice in it, but it dies after maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can.
Yep.
It works still.
Bob, you know any French?
Oui, je m'appelle Barbe et toi?
Do you know front deux? Do you know what a front deux is?
No, what is a front?
It's a front. That's a front side 270, and that's a.
You knew that.
You probably have some
Cap
sick
deux?
lingo.
Back deux, back deux.
Back deux, back deux.
Back door. What is back do?
It's a back two.
Oh,
Back deux.
270 off.
damn.
Yep.
What else you got? You come from the streets originally.
Originally, yep. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe it. But I loved it. I loved the streets. I've gone soft. It's okay.
You got any more French lingo for us?
Actually,
and
we
the
have a
listeners?
Patreon question about that from Charles Nacho. Why don't you shout out Chuck New
Chuck.
That's my guy.
Wow,
Thanks to our
you-
Patreon members.
These are random? You hit all these people?
They
You
sent
hit
out.
all- this is Patreon. But
Patreon.
Will? Did you?
Oh, I
you-
called Will. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
Yeah, I called Will. Talked to
Kevin?
Ben B, Kevin, some few others. We got some
Wow.
more. We got some more guest questions.
You are really doing your research. Good job.
But for this, to be clear, what we do is people that support our show, when you're coming on, we say, Marie's coming on the show.
yeah.
You guys want to ask a question on our Patreon thing, and then people like Chuck Nacho hit us with a question like this.
SFK legend.
He is an SFK legend, yeah.
Shouts to all the Patreon members. Here is Chuck's question. Hi, Marie. When are you going to get back on the steel? We love you.
Like, are we talking street still?
Nope. That's,
We can talk about both.
steel is steel.
I mean, I'm still hitting the steel once in a while. It's just not big steel. It's not like heavy steel. I just hit steel at HUD a few weeks ago. But, you know, I'm definitely not sanding it like I used to. But I do get excited, though, to hit steel in the park once in a while. It's fun.
As long as you're not riding around it, that's the thing that gets me. Some of my friends, they just ride around it.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
What
I mean-
about when you go up to the lip and then jump off the side of the lip? Is that
What about when you go? What about when you go up the lip and you don't bend your legs and then you jump on the rails?
That's me.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it depends on the feature. If you're putting a gnarly something in front of me, I might go around for sure. It's okay.
Still touching steel though. We like that. All right, we got another Patreon question from Old Man Winter. I'm gonna hit this one. Any relation to absolutely legendary goaltender Patrick Waugh?
I wish. I always say he's my uncle, but it's a lie. Big fat lie. No, I'm not related.
That's also, let's clarify this right now because I think I may have been in this situation, but a lot of people think your name's Marie Francois, like your last name's Francois.
Yes. What'd you call me earlier? Say it again. Say my name.
Mary Francois.
I'm sure excited to talk to France Roy.
Francois coming in the booth.
She is a fabulous boarder, dude.
That Mary Francois.
Holy
Well, I'll
shit.
tell you.
Yeah, my last name is Roy. Yeah, and I mean in Quebec we have a lot of hyphenated first names, annoying. But yeah, my actual first name is Marie-France, and I don't have a middle name. My last name is Roy.
There was actually a lot of alliterations kind of when you came up, where it's like LNP.
Yeah, Laurent Nicolas, same thing.
MFR,
His last name's not
DCP.
Nicolas Paquin. It's like Paquin.
Laurent Nicolas Paquin.
Who has a better French accent between Grandies and I?
Well, you sound Latino somehow.
Marie Francois.
It's cool. I like it. It's a nice twist.
Thanks.
He has better French, I think, because
Je parle un peu de français ici.
he learned quite a bit. I'm impressed how much he learned.
Poutine.
Nice save.
Damn, he's got me covered. He's got me covered. Let's hit another Patreon, Silk. By the way, your new mic sounds fantastic. Benny Pellegrinos could be good for right now.
Yeah. Shout out Benny Pellegrino.
Oh, let's see how you do the French in the beginning. This will be good.
Marie, comment allez-vous?
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm
Silk.
French.
Yeah,
I'm French. My
that's
last
true.
name ends in a CQ.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, wow.
at what point in your snowboarding career did you realize you want to shred POW? And when did you decide to make the move out to BC?
Okay, so there's two questions there. I made them.
And also, comment allez-vous?
Comment allez-vous? Ça va bien,
Three
merci.
questions.
Yeah, love that. I moved to BC like basically after that internship. Like I never left. So when I was about 22 maybe, and what made me move? I mean, it's an evolution of things, right? Like the streets era was awesome, and I love to compete, but life is short. Of course, I wanted to ride powder. Of course, I wanted to get better in the backcountry, and living in Whistler is the best place to do it. So it was just a natural evolution, I believe. And yeah, I really really love it. It's I know it's a bit of a privileged thing, and that's, I think we all have to admit that. Like it's expensive, like, you know, even just the access, even like to ride a resort that has powder is expensive and compared to a rope tow setup or whatever. Like, you know, even jib in the streets. Like, so it's privileged, but if you can get in there, it's freaking awesome.
You do some splitboarding though, you know?
Yeah, I love splitboarding. I think it's a really great way to access the mountains. It's rewarding. I love to, like, you know, I love to earn your turns. I think it's great. I mean, in BC, it's tough. It's really tough to film and be productive without a snowmobile. Like, you can splitboard and film, but good luck finding a filmer that wants to do that, first of all. And even finding a crew that wants to do that. I mean, there's a few that do it, and like, that's really admirable. Like, people who splitboard and film entirely splitboarding, the whole crew, like, it's a lot of work. It's way less productive. And even safety-wise, right? If you're out remotely on your splitboard, like, your risk level, at least for me, I'm like, okay, we're like hours from getting a rescue here, especially if it's cloudy or the heli's not going to come. I don't know. It's not like you can grab your sled and rip back. You know, all these things play into.
Well, also Whistler is so far. I feel like, for example, Utah. You go up the mountains, you're on a road, you pop on your splitboard, you're at elevation. The stuff's, you could throw a damn rock at half the stuff. It's not a huge ascent to get where you put in your snowmobile. Most of the trailheads in the greater Whistler area, you're like at a low elevation and you're jamming to get up to the good snow.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of far. Yeah. So.
But you're in Pemberton now.
I'm in Pemberton, but we still go to all those zones like around Whistler, but there's lots of good zones north of Pemberton too. Yeah, we're lucky. There's so much out there. It would take a lifetime to explore it all, and it's so cool because the first few years we were filming, you know, we were going out there to build jumps, and now we're going out there, we're racing the lines. It's crazy. Like, it's a totally different way to look at the terrain. It's pretty cool, and there's all these crews of locals, like these like awesome dads from Pemby that like will always beat you to it, and you're like, damn it, and they're so sick, and just watch them rip it. It's cool. I like it. I like that people are out there having fun, sending it, and there's all types of snowboarding. And I know you love the steel, and I love the steel too. But I love that, you know, that it's evolved into so many different aspects. Even the carving, you know, like the Japanese riders and like people like Nicholas Volkin, like, I love their style. I love that they love snowboarding for different reasons or what it is. I think it's dope.
Also, coming from rails, riding cheese wedges, which you had some very notable clips doing. I'd love to hear about the transition into riding lines, because that's a whole different can of worms.
Yeah, it really is. It's really it's really different, right? It's a different type of risk too. Like, now you're dealing with avalanches and exposure and reading the terrain, like learning how to get to the. It's funny, we took Frank heliboarding in Alaska a few years ago.
Frank April.
Yeah, Frank April. Yep. And he gets to the top and he's like, where do I go? Where do I go? He's like, I go down here. And we're like, yeah, you just go down here. He's like, but I can't see. He was so freaked out, like, over the blind rolls. But I'm like, okay, Frank, we get to the bottom. Got to take a picture. Okay. He's like, oh, okay. He was awesome. And yeah, it's so different. It's so different. And that's why I love it. It's like you're learning something entirely new. And yeah, life is short. I like to learn new things.
That's probably a hard thing for like the viewer to understand too, the convex roll thing. When you get to the top, you're like, okay, where the fuck am I going here? Because I got no idea what's underneath me.
Yeah, and it's scary, especially like when you're filming. If you hike the line, you can get a better sense of the size, even the conditions of the snow. Like, if you're, I mean, there's all kinds of approach, not like a heliboard that much, but if you're getting dropped off on top of something that you haven't ridden at all, and like telling the size of something from the heli can be really challenging, and I don't know, it's a totally different set of skills, and some people are really, really good at it, and you could take a lifetime too to get better at that. Like, it's never ending set of skills. So I like that.
And you got to memorize where you're going too, right? I would fail on that part for sure. I have a terrible memory. I'd be like, I think I'm supposed to go right here, but is this the rock that you're supposed to turn right at, or do you go left here? I don't know. Is this the rock? I think it is.
And it's never as impressive, like, if you've never done it. And, like, that's why we always skipped through the big mountain segment when we were kids, right? We didn't know what it's like. And once you start doing it, you're like, you develop so much respect for those big mountain riders. And I'm sure, like, even natural selection, people watching that must be like, oh, I would kill it at that. And then he'd put them on top of this and they'd be, like, shitting their pants.
Yeah.
Even snowmobiling access stuff, I remember launching this. There's like a hanging rock in the middle of this kind of chute thing. And I was like, I'm just going to come down front three of this, whatever. And I like start riding down. And I like, as I get close to the edge of the thing, I'm like, this thing's fucking huge. I don't need to front three of this. Like, what? And you just like roll the windows down and you're like, that was awful. So now we don't have a shot. All right. Like,
yeah, we all claim like the biggest tricks before, like, get to the bottom, I'm going to do this, that, and then end up doing absolutely nothing, just tomahawking down the whole slope. Great.
That's where the GoPro is really nice, is for riding lines. I feel like it elevates the viewership, you know, for what they're watching.
Yeah.
Do you like to go GoPro on the helmet, or
you go?
I think you were telling me you like to GoPro waves the mouth GoPro piece.
The mouth mount?
Yeah, mouth mount.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Is that your riding lines?
I can't stand that. Like, I am the worst at GoPros. The few times a year I'll put it on, I never turn it on when it's time to drop. I never, like, always forget. It's annoying.
Is it tilted up high enough? Is it on?
Yeah, it is true. It is good for certain lines, for sure. It adds another angle that's pretty cool. But
all right, we got a Patreon question. This is presented by Nidecker, and we got Craig McMorris reading this one. Here we go.
Hey folks, what's going on? Craig McMorris here on behalf of Nidecker Snowboards. We are going to be giving away a pair of boots. Today I'm going to talk about the Cont'd boot. This is my favorite. This is the boot I ride in all terrain, okay? We're talking rails, POW, park. I love it. I love the external heel lock. Locks are heel in. The armor toe. Waterproof, solid. This thing lasts for a very long time. It's got a great liner, and it is a sturdy boot. It's an all-terrain vehicle, just like the guest on the bomb hole right now, Marie Francois. As I said, we're going to be giving away a pair of boots to our favorite Patreon question, right? So if you're part of the Patreon, you support the show, you ask some questions before, I go through them, I pick my favorite one. There were so many good questions. It was very hard to choose. I'm going to go with Jenny, who asked, I thought, a really insightful question, and this is Jenny's question right now. Since you started riding, you have probably spent a ton of time in groups where you were the only woman. What do you personally think is the difference between being with the guys or shredding with an all-female crew? Is one better than the other? Marie, I'm going to let you answer that question. I hope you have a great episode. On behalf of myself and the great folks at Nidecker, enjoy the program.
such a pro.
He's a pro.
Wow.
He knows what he's doing.
Yep.
Thank you, Craig. So nice. The question, yeah, male. I think they're both great. I grew up with dudes. I've filmed with a lot of amazing dudes. I feel really comfortable most of the time, and I like that. I don't know. It's kind of funny when you're a crew with dudes. You kind of just automatically assume that you're the worst one there, and that there's no competition. I mean, used to, not the same. Actually, going back now a few times, I realized that maybe there was some assumptions. Yep. But I love also filming with women only crew. Like I said, it's really special that we're at a point where we've developed enough skills and confidence to have female crews in the backcountry. And I mean, even in the streets, like, it's so rad to see the uninvited chicks and any crews getting out there with the girls. And I think girls together really, it's like dudes together. Like, you open up more. It's, you know, the banter is great. The banter.
Elevated banter.
Yeah, that's great.
Love it. Well said. I would like to change gears, and I'd like to talk about your place on Vancouver Island.
Yep.
Because we're talking about your snowboard life. That is phenomenal. Been covering it. But I want to hear about the like summer non-snowboard life on Vancouver Island and your choice to buy property out there and where that came from.
Yeah, that came from kind of like I said, like I wanted a bit more balance. I love snowboarding, but I found that if my life is 24/7 about snowboarding, I was taking it for granted, and like, you know, I didn't want to build that. So I was like, I need better balance. And I've always wanted to learn how to surf, and I wanted to kind of get out of the scene a little bit too, like not talk about snowboarding all the time. And some people love to do that, but I personally was just needed a break. And so we used to go to Tofino once a summer and rent surfboards and camp. And my friend and I, we went in my car, my old Jetta, and we did the whole tour of the island over 2 days. And we slept in the car and like ended up sleeping on the dock in Yuki. And I was like, wow, this place is awesome. And the people there were great. Like when I moved there was not really any snowboarders. Like now there's a lot of snowboarders there. I get a lot of shit for it. But it was just small community living, really wild, remote. Love the ocean. I love the water. And I started a garden, got chickens. It was really good way for me to disconnect, but still love it. And I kind of thought too, I was like, well, people might assume that I'm quitting snowboarding or whatever, but I just didn't really care. I was just like, I'm going for it. And it's been, I think, a big part of why I'm still in snowboarding today, to have the balance of the mountains and the ocean. And I'm, once again, very privileged. I know I'm lucky to be able to do that. And then I started, like, you love to build stuff. Started building the cob house in the back.
Explain what a cob house is, because I've heard this term many a time, and I'm not entirely sure what that is.
Yeah, people think it's corn on the cob reference, but not at all. They're like, oh, you build your house out of corn, right? Or they think it's a house for bears, like cub house. I don't know. I don't know. And but it's not. Cob is just a word that it's sand, clay, and straw mixed together, like adobe a bit. And you build it by hand with your feet, and it's kind of it's an old way of building. You
don't use a mixer?
I did not. I just used my feet on tarps.
That is insane.
That's why it took me 4 summers. But you could use a mixer, but it ends up being not that much better, I think. It's still a lot of work in the mixer.
Yeah.
I did the year after I broke my neck. I was recovering from my neck injury, and I had just seen this book from Lloyd Kahn, like Builders of the Pacific, the West, or something like that. And it was these beautiful homes, like so creative, and some of them were built with cob and dirt and all just natural material. And I'm like, this is so rad. I've never seen this. And then I did a 1-week course on South Spring Island with the Mud Girls, and small crew of women only that give these courses on sustainable building. And so rad, like very hippie, like all vegan food. They provide childcare if you want to bring your kids. But it was instantly like we were working on a house there, and I saw one that was finished, and this woman was living in there, single mom with her kid. It was a tiny little home. It was so dope. And I was like, I'm building one instantly, and I'm taking notes. And they're like, we've never seen someone take notes during our course. I know, I want to build one. And then, it was a really rewarding process. I learned a lot. My brother helped me a lot, like with the carpentry, because like I love to build stuff, but I have limited experience and knowledge with the actual carpentry side. And my dad came out for a bit, helped me too, and lots of friends. And whatever I couldn't do myself, like the wiring, I hired friends. But like the actual cob part is like probably the most creative, because you can do anything you want, any shape.
And you put glass windows inset on them?
Yeah, like you can do. Yeah, the sky's the limit.
And do you frame it out and then put the corn on the cob on the outside, or?
Yeah, and the bear's inside.
But how does it? But I'm. Yeah.
How does it, like, there's no rebar in it, or how
Yeah.
does it keep its form?
The straw is kind of the rebar. It's like
Okay.
a natural
okay.
rebar. It's just fiber, really. But there's many ways to do it. You could have your wall structural where it holds the roof. We did it differently because my brother wasn't going to be there a whole lot. He's like, I'll build your roof and then you deal with the mud. He's like, I'm not touching that hippie shit. So he built a roof, and then so we had like the posts for the roof, and then I just built the walls.
Now, is this stuff insulate to where you don't need to use a lot of like heating and air conditioning? Because I'd imagine it's insulates well, right?
The cob itself is not that insulative on its own. You
Okay.
can like add a layer of straw in the middle, or like straw bales, another type of, you could do straw bales and cover it with plaster, which is a type of cob. So there's so many different techniques and ways you can do it. Mine, I didn't do it insulated because it's pretty mild climate out
And
there.
Even in the winter, do you go there in the winters ever? Or is
Sometimes,
it just
yeah.
Okay.
And it's it gets cold, but there's a wood stove in there. It's not a really big space.
Cool.
Yeah. I would like to build another one, actually. I'm trying to save money to build maybe a straw bale one. Or
How does it
something like that.
harden? It just the sun hardens it, cures it, I guess.
It just dries over time. It grows grass for a bit, and eventually it dries out.
Wow, this is cool. You should post some photos of this for the website what are we doing? The talk show.
There'll be photos on the
Podcast.
screen. There'll be photos on the screen.
Yeah,
Don't
I'll
you
get
worry.
it.
If they're on the internet, I found them.
Yeah.
That's what.
I
What do you
can
think
find
Silk
it.
D's
Interesting.
doing back there? Jesus
Yeah,
Christ!
that's what
I
I'm
don't know.
doing right
He
now.
has the influencer lighting kit over here with
You
the
think
iPhone.
I can't find
on
a
there.
fucking picture?
Yeah. What do you think you're talking? We got Silk D in here, Bob. You need to get your shit together.
Come on.
All right, I'm curious here. I feel as though you've simplified life with this place in a way that's like it seems lower overhead. To kind of take you out of the rat race a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like low cost of living?
Yeah,
kind of
like
thing?
you're kind of
it's-
living rural, living remote, where I'm like a high overhead guy, where I'm like I'm chugging away. We're chugging away. But I deeply admire people that have intentionally set up their lives in a way to where it's like almost a simpler way of living. Like, what have you learned from making that intentional decision to be more remote, be more sustainable, be more off the grid, so to speak?
I think it's I don't know, it's ingrained values I'm attracted by that. I'm attracted by I'm not a minimalist at all. Like I own in Pemberton, I'm head over heels too in a way too.
Yeah.
So and it's hard. They don't make it easy to live simply, to live minimalist. Like it's illegal in most places to build this type of buildings. There's a reason why it's challenging, right? It's the lobbies of those industries, and they want you to buy shit, and it's hard and it's challenging, but you got to find the loopholes, and, there's ways to do it, but it's the easy route is the consumerism route. And then with that comes heavy debts and stress. And yeah, I think, I mean, this is a big subject, but if we could all live more simply, and if there was more access to those materials legally, like even the zoning, we could reduce a lot of our impacts and our stress ultimately,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need food. You take your chickens, you smack the egg on the pan. You got food. You're doing good. They're fertilizing the grass. Like, it's a great situation.
But to be fair, it's like to live fully off grid, and like it's a full-time job. Like I have backyard chickens and I love them and they give me eggs, but it's to have a garden that feeds you year round. It's a shit ton of work, and you need land and you need to be there full time. So I don't want to like over romanticize it, because it is hard to do that. You need to commit to that lifestyle 100%. So I'm just only dabbling. But yeah, as long as I don't know, it's there's not many people who live it truly, like with permaculture and like fully living off the land. And I really admire that, but it's almost, it's intense. It's a commitment.
You mentioned in one of the documentaries I was watching, you said something along the lines of like peaks and valleys. it's not healthy to always be running on adrenaline, like where you're kind of like where snowboarding would be your adrenaline, and this is the opposite in some ways.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I was adrenaline out, and I don't know if not many people talk about that. I wonder if people feel that. Am I the only one that's?
Oh, you're just aware. I think we all probably are, but we're just not aware of it.
You think? I don't know, but I feel it sometimes, and more like, you know, as I'm getting older, like I love adrenaline, but like I can only, maybe that's why I got burnt out so quickly too, and maybe some people have higher level of adrenaline than others. I think that too. But yeah, I like to push myself, and I've obviously like still do, but I cannot do it all day every day, and I need balance. And I wonder if some people just don't even notice that they're adrenaline out.
Well, I also, and even like stress being a form.
Yeah, stress is adrenaline.
Stress is adrenaline too. So I think if you're in a constant state of living in a metropolitan area or just a faster pace of life, and your body is just so used to stress that until you go live in a rural area with minimal distractions and you slow the pace of life down, you don't even realize how fucking stressed out you are.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm sure a lot of people would be like, oh, well, nice for you. Good for you. Must be nice that you get to do that. You know, like a lot of people, I think, legitimately don't have access to that, like to slow down, or at least they don't see the way towards that. Or like, you know, I think we're all really privileged. Like, let's be honest. Like, you know, most of us, just even to be able to snowboard, just to live here, just to, like, you know, I think so many people like are just in the rat race, like you said, but over the top stress. Like, I think of all the single parents in the world, like, you know, that just with the cost of living these days, like, I don't know. I would love it worries me to see the direction we're going. I feel like there's more and more stress in our lives. There's more and more dependency into like high cost things in order to live and in order to be a normal human being in society. Like, even you think about our impact, like if I want to reduce my impact 100%, it's almost like that means like not taking a plane anywhere, like saying like I can't see my family once a year. Like it's almost impossible to live a fully, like, you know, off-grid living without really giving up a lot of the things we are kind of used to in society and socially are normal, I would say.
Well, this is a good time to get into that too, because you've been very vocal about being an activist for a lot of things and environmentally based, whether it's like fish or the climate, and been vocal about it. And I would love to hear you talk about those things and just see where you're at with it right now. And
yeah, I think I've been. I mean, obviously, I studied in this field ever since I was a kid. I don't know. I feel like ever since I was a young child, I noticed that it was going to be a big issue. It was already a big issue and like a big challenge we're facing. And I don't know. I grew up in the boonies. I was really connected to nature. Like, I just was playing outside like 24/7 and making friends with all the bugs, and you know, and I just could see it. I could see the impact of a society, like our society, of human development, and not like to be like a harsh critic about it. It's just the way it is. But I was like, well, this is going to affect all of our lives, and that's why I wanted to work in this field and be a part of, you know, hopefully work towards finding solutions. And yeah, with snowboarding, I'm grateful that now I can kind of connect the two. You know, I can be an ambassador. I can still be a snowboarder, but be an ambassador for, like, you know, being a voice that is pushing for positive change in that area. So that's really important to me. But with that comes a lot of criticism, of course. So that's kind of hard to navigate sometimes. But I think so much needs to be done, and it's still like such a divided subject. And I don't know, I think it's important to give back and use your platform for causes you care about. There's so many of them, and I guess this has been kind of mine. And there's only so much I can do, but I just try to do my best to bring awareness and education and bring people together and do events that, can give back in that area.
I feel like you're people like you that are out there promoting for the climate are in a difficult position often, because you were talking about being criticized, where at least like over in this part of the world, people have denied that there is climate change. So you have these people kind of going against you, right? And there's been like all this propaganda out there for that. But then you also have these people that are on the same side as you, but they don't think you're doing what you should be doing. Like you should never take a plane, like you were saying. And so then you have these people criticizing you that are also supposed to be on your same team. You're just kind of, I feel like you're in a hard position.
Yeah.
Yeah,
obviously. I mean, anyone that's, involved with POW, look at Jeremy Jones, how much heat he gets. And he's just doing so much. Anyone, even outside of snowboarding, anyone that is an activist for climate change or environmental causes gets absolutely attacked and destroyed. And it's just, to me, it's just such a waste of time. It's just pointing the fingers at each other for something that, okay, it's obvious we're all hypocrites. Can we just get over this fact and like move on towards solution? Because like you're born and there's a diaper on your ass that's made out of oil. Okay, I was not even deciding this, but like, do you want me to stop breathing too? Because I'm creating CO2 right now. It's like, where's the line? Where's the line where you're doing enough to have a voice? Right? And when you're like, do you need to be vegan? Do you need to stop flying in order to say you care about the environment? It's like these recurring questions. And I think that, the fossil fuel industry made the word carbon footprint, and they know exactly what they're doing. And there's millions of dollars that are invested every year into making people believe climate change is a hoax, into making it's just fighting against it so they can keep business going as usual. So yes, we all have a footprint, but I think it's very convenient that they keep this topic going, that the consumer is responsible for all of it. There's a really good book called The Merchants of Doubt that you guys should read, or the listeners. It just really shows that this has been an ongoing thing. It's very much controlled and paid for to make us feel guilty about our impact and to keep us quiet.
Okay, I have a question. So, like the thought process, it gets daunting sometimes, right? Because you're like, okay, we want to make an impact here, but fuck, I want to go I want to fly home and see my mom and dad, and I want to still take my snowmobile up and whack some POW turns. Like, what's actionable for the listener? Like, what's the best thing for somebody who's like, I want to make a difference, but I don't know how?
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff you can do, and it's going to be different for everyone. And I think number one thing would be great is if we stop criticizing each other.
Wow, that's it. It's an issue of human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And that right there, if everybody speaking up is getting attacked and totally shit on, like everybody that's out there watching is like, well, I don't want to speak about it then. I don't want to get involved. Like, so many of my friends are like, well, I would like to say I care about the environment, but I drive a truck, so I just don't even talk about it. Like right there is like, but I know you care. You want fresh air, clean 100%. Water, like for you and the next generations. Everybody loves nature. Who doesn't love nature, So it's just this whole like culpability, like guilt trip thing is just almost the biggest like factor slowing down the progress here in the race towards solution, which we desperately need. So yeah, I would be number one thing, like stop criticizing. And like, we all have different lives depending on where you live, what you're into. You might not be able to be vegan, but maybe you don't have you don't need to fly a lot. Like somebody else might be a vegan that flies a lot. Who cares? You might drive a truck, but you might volunteer every weekend for a cause that you care about. At the end of the day, it's not your own little action that's gonna save the world. But I often say, like somebody said that, like you all think about it as a brick wall. and we all have to put our own bricks. And like, but you need to put a brick, It's like, if nobody puts their bricks, there's no wall. But if everybody just puts one brick slowly together, we are going towards a common goal. And I think that's the big picture here. And it's so daunting to say, like, how can I save the world? Like, nobody's going to do this alone. Mm-hmm. Nobody. It's way too complex. You got the whole economy side of it, like conservation. You got, like, it's huge. It's probably the biggest problem facing humanity. I mean, there's a bunch of them, but like they're interconnected with everything else, with our health, with wars, economy, immigration, everything. So it's going to take a lot of bricks.
Yeah. I look at it when the criticism thing is huge. That's like the biggest turnoff for everything. And I feel like if you look at it from a human nature standpoint, where you have basically, let's just take climate, for example. You have somebody who is anti-climate change, and they have somebody that's climate change or whatever, right? Like if two people are talking and they can both come from trying to understand the other person's perspective. Okay, I see how you got there. I can see, given the way you were raised and the information that you've been given and where you're at, I could see how you arrived to that conclusion. And I hear you and I see you. And then all of a sudden they're saying, oh, okay, this person's listening to me. They're not coming at me. I'll listen to you. Let's listen to each other instead of like, you're bad, I'm right.
Yes.
Which is basically what it is. You're bad, I'm right. That's simply, it's ego. And like from a human nature standpoint, if people could just come from a place of understanding others, then I think there could be some progress. But I think until there's a massive change in human nature, that's also like the part of the, I'm criticizing, I'm pointing out the problems, but anyway.
No, you're right. I think good communication with each other instead of dividing further is really important in any like conflicting like topics these days. I think we kind of need to be understanding of each other's backgrounds and to come towards solutions better, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get there. Yeah, human nature, like you said, I'm a bit of a fatalist, to be honest. I don't know if we're going to pull our shit together fast enough, but I still have hope, and I'm still not going to stop trying. Like, that's another thing people say, like, well, we're all fucked anyways. I don't think that's really a good excuse.
It's a cop-out.
I think the brick's the best mentality.
Yeah.
Just put the brick on the wall and keep it moving.
Yeah, we're all going to die anyways. Does that mean you're not going to try to have a good life and do the best you can? Like, I think, just do what you can where you can, and that's it. And just stop talking shit. That's it.
There it is. Simply sum that. We got a question from Leanne. Here we go.
What's up, Marie? It's Leanne. You are a goddess of snowboarding. I love your energy. I've always been very grateful to be in the mountains with you because we just go with the flow and always have a good time. It's the best. But the one question I think a lot of us are wondering is, how do you lead such an intentional lifestyle? It seems like you've got it down with also like not that much overhead. Chris and I were talking about how stressed out a lot of us get because we overload our plates, and you never seem to do that. So just want to know how you do it. You always have this amazing, you've got like a botanical gardens at your house. You built a cop house by your hands for 5 years. You give back through the redfish restoration and your event, the Triple Plank, and you just always seem to do life with ease. You never seem stressed. So please tell us your secrets.
Wow. Thanks, Leanne. I love shooting with Leanne. It's so chill. Talk about someone that's not competitive out there, and it's just like, yeah, let's do whatever we feel like today. She's awesome. I don't think of myself as a stress-free person, but maybe it's because I know I cannot handle a lot of stress that led me this direction. I think that I'm lucky that I've lived the life I've built, and I'm lucky to have whatever happened, the people around me that allow me to do that too. I'm really aware of that, and but I think that. I really love that that movie Project with Tim Eddy where he talks about depression. I forget the name of it. Have you seen it? It talks about his dad, and I think stress, like we talked about, is a huge factor for depression and all types of problems. And I think we could say that a majority of the population is stressed, way too stressed these days. And I mean, my mom, the reason my parents separated is because my mom was depressed, and also comes from a societal pressured what's expected of a mother and women. And like, this is so all connected, right? So I think seeing that, maybe even like talking about it now, I think I never even realized that. Like the fact she brought this up, like I think unknowingly I take decisions in my life that will bring less stress. And I value that over money most of the time. I try to. Like even like sponsor situation, like I only have 2-3 sponsors, like Patagonia, Arbor, Karakoram, and I love my relationship with them. And you know, I went from a state where I was making more money in snowboarding, but I was feeling more stressed and I was not happy. And that's just a small example within snowboarding. I can only imagine people with big jobs, like really stressful jobs, the amount of pressure they feel. I could not sleep at night. And they say 70%, what is it, of people don't sleep enough in America, in Canada, everywhere, like Europe too. So obviously not everyone can live this way, but I try to choose, when I make decisions, I try to choose, around those factors, stress, who's benefiting, what doors is that going to open to? Like, you know, I think great opportunities arise, but it's important to think long-term. And I think if we thought long-term a lot, like even as a society, like if we had more foresight, we would have avoided a lot of the problems we have now. But same within our own lives. Like I just try to think about what's going to keep me sane and what makes me happy deep down. And I think this is what has led me to where I'm at today and the people I choose in my life.
I love everything you just said. That was brilliant. And a little nugget I heard in there too was talking about how, you know, I turned down money to have less stress. But I do think I think all of us, myself included, do believe that money equates happiness in a lot of ways because of financial freedom. Because and financial freedom in some ways can be associated with that. But if you want to be happy, stress and being happy don't always exist in the same Venn diagram, right? And they can, but when you're peaceful and you're calm and you're doing what you love and you're not stressed, that's actually like clearly going to make you.
That's
happy.
The flow state.
Yeah,
flow state.
And I think that, to be fair, balance is the key word here, because you need money, and yes, money gets me happiness too. But it's a balance, right? And stress is good to a certain degree. If you're not ever exposing yourself to anything that's challenging you, you're not really evolving or learning or like growing in a way, right? But like, I think there's just too much of it. And like, I think that people, I don't know, I don't want to talk for people, but I just think that like a lot of times we just think numbers. We just think dollars, where you could still make good dollars, but maybe a bit less and have more time off. Or you could have more, you know, like be more proud of who you're working for. Or like, you know, even like for people like in any jobs, like have a better working environment, better benefits. Or like, I think those are all important.
I think also for North America, we're pretty notorious for not like shutting off work and always working all the time, whether it's weekends, any hour of the day, it doesn't matter. And trying to kind of balance work, life, relationship, you know, like actually not working on the weekends, not taking phone calls after 5 p.m. or whatever it is, you know, having a healthy balance.
Well, and there's also the thing too, exactly where we pride ourselves on being so busy in the sense that like being like to feel worthy, to be like, oh, I'm fucking busy, I'm worthy. It's like, no, those things aren't related. But the thing I thought was really interesting, which has been a switch in my head, is this, I work with this guy, Troy, helps me out. It's like a mentor in my life. And he's like, you know, I was talking to him and I was telling him all these ideas, and he's like, Chris, I noticed when you leave the dirt bike track is when you get all your good ideas. Like you always have good ideas after you go ride your dirt bike. He's like, I think you should ride your dirt bike more. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? But like the point being is that like, if you work all the time, you're probably stressed all the time and you're not working efficiently. Whereas if you take the time to go surf, to go snowboard, to go skate, to go do things that make you happy or whatever those things are, and then you go work, chances are you can do 4 hours of work in 2 hours. Whereas if you're stressed, that 2 hours of work is going to take you 6 hours. So the stress management helps you to work more efficiently if you're doing the right things.
For sure. Balance. And I think those things that make you happy in your life are so important. And once again, though, I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, I can't afford to do anything fun. Like I know a lot of people are in really tight situations, and I want to be mindful of that. But if you can work towards finding a way to balance that out where you can have more time for you and what makes you happy, I think that's a good route.
Yeah. Or prioritizing fun, even if you don't have that much time.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, we all, the hour that you spend on your phone wasting your life away, just put it towards something you actually love and makes you feel better.
Cool. Fun topic.
Wise words.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great little segment. What's going on with this West Coast triple plank 5-day event? Yeah.
So this was our 7th annual. My friend and I, Alicia, we started years ago. We would talk about it's so cool that on the island you can do all three. You can surf and skate and snowboard pretty much in the same day if you wanted. It's pretty rare the places you can do that. And we're like, oh, how cool would it be to make an event where we just do that? And they're like, yeah, and then raise money for a good cause, of course. And it just started like that, and then we made it happen. One year, the first year, like people had to hike 2 hours up a logging road just to the shittiest bank slalom through a logging cut blocks. That was deadly. But still, 100 people came up, and I think we raised $1,500 that year. And now last year, we raised $47,000 for Redfish Restoration Society. We sell out, like the registration, we sell out in a few minutes. We have 250 participants. We would have more, but it's just the logistics of running like a surf comp, a skate comp, and a snowboard comp in one weekend is quite challenging. And yeah, it's just a good old time. We have people from all ages coming. We just, like we plant trees, or we do a restoration aspect where people learn about what Redfish is doing. And it's just a good way to connect, our backyard, our playground, and the importance of protecting it to the stuff we love to do on it. Like we're so lucky to have that. And I think that it's just a good old time. It's a great occasion to get all together in person. In-person events are so important these days, I think. And
you do it in the spring?
Yeah, we do it last weekend of April, first weekend of May. It's kind of like it's a small window where there's still snow and there's not raining and there's waves. This year we kind of got really rained on. Unfortunately, we had to shut down the skate comp, but it ended up clearing. People skated anyways. It was awesome. But yeah, it's really cool. I have really great people helping me put it on. Shout out to Nat Langman. The last 2 years, she's been absolutely amazing. Shout out to all the sponsors who help us out. Patagonia, Yeti, Arbor, like those are some main ones. And we have a ton more. Like every year we get more people wanting to partner and support. And yeah, it's cool. And it's all the culture we love to promote, right? Surfing, skateboarding, snowboarding, it's the best. We're lucky.
And I'd love to hear about the redfish restoration, exactly what that's about.
Yeah, so this is an organization that started years ago in Ucluelet on Vancouver Island. A lot of women actually run the show there. It's awesome, but also loggers, fishermen. And they basically are working to bring back a lot of those rivers, those watersheds that have been highly impacted by logging industries and other factors too. But basically they go into the rivers and fix them entirely so that the salmon can come back and spawn again. And they do massive projects. It's like crazy. And it's just a good local organization that I love to support. And it's a great local employer. It's small, right? So it's a way to do a difference in your own community, I think. And yeah, I think it's awesome. And they're really, at first we were kind of annoying. I was just like, they don't care about us doing this calm, giving them $1,000. But then now it's grown a lot, and they're like, wow, it's so cool that you guys bring this new audience to our cause, right? And it's a pretty depressing field to work in, environmental work, because you're going against the current, like, right? Like, I think the Earth's getting destroyed faster than we can repair it, but they're like, it's such a breath of fresh air to see that many people stoked on what we're doing and like giving us hope that like we do make a difference and that we can grow and do more every year. So it feels good. It's rewarding.
Love that. Now, do you find yourself slowing down a little bit in your older age, maybe getting off hill a little earlier? Well, you could be dehydrated. 75% of Americans are dehydrated. And that goes up when you're at elevation, when you're in the mountains. So I drink Bubs Hydrate or Die hydration packets. There's 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes. There's no added sugar. There's no artificial flavors. And let me tell you, when I'm hydrated, I ride better. I can ride longer. I have more energy. All in all, my vitality is just better. So if you're interested in picking up some Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die, head on over to bubsnaturals.com and use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off your order. And stay hydrated, people, with Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die. Silk, you know what it's time for?
I think it might be time to do the first Name That Video part in the new studio.
All right. How's your confidence?
1.5.
1.5. I like that.
You want a smelling salt to raise that number?
Yeah, let's. Yeah.
Known to improve brain function.
Yeah, that actually is. It's good for cognitive function. It's proven.
It will tap into my deep knowledge of all the video parts out there.
Seeing as though she was mentioning how she didn't know the names of the... Oh, you don't have one, my bad. I thought you had one in your hand.
You've been known to not share the goods.
Yep. Seeing as though she said she didn't know the names of the tricks she was doing earlier, this should be...
I know.
This should be a walk in the park.
This should be a walk in the park.
I hope you give me a meatball.
He's been known to give meatballs.
Oh.
That's great. Oh. All right.
It does.
Here we go.
Is it LMP part?
Yes. Wow. Wow.
Which film? I don't.
I'll play it again.
Is that me? Wow, I am mind blown.
Guys, round of applause. Round of applause.
I am impressed with myself even.
Silk, we got a new Name That Video part prize pack. It's a bomb hole North Face tote. We like something that's functional. You can put your snowboard gear in there if you're going up to the hill. Pashley sent us those.
Thank you, Pashley.
You can. That thing's getting a little. That thing's. You want to just.
I
little in the way. It's your problem now.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Yeah, there's we actually did a new thing. We got a water bottle, and we did Bomb Hole episode 196.
Whoa.
Mary Francois. We got a label maker. It's really fun. It's really fun.
Yeah. High quality.
Yep. I've been trolling all of everybody that works here with the labels. It's been pretty fun. So, any rate, yeah.
You should have made a Skidoo user on that.
Skidoo user, yes. Skidoo only. For Skidoo user only.
Yeah.
You know, it's been pretty fun since, you know, the Skidoo Polaris thing. Curtis switched from Skidoo to Polaris. And in this new office, I've been hanging up all the signed prints from all the guests that we have. We have like 1 million photos. And I found this one from Curtis's episode that I didn't know we had. And it says, it's like, to the bomb hole, Skidoo is the superior machine, Curtis Cizik.
No way. That's so crazy.
Signed. He signed it.
He just switched because he got a deal on the rig.
Yeah, he
Come
did.
on. Let's be honest.
He's taking money over quality life.
It's true. Yeah.
Exactly.
He needs to take a page.
He's going to hate himself at the trailhead.
Yep. He already is. All right. Part 2, name that video part, is for the listeners. Shout out to the Quebecois. Here we go. If you guys know what video part that is, which is a classic, comment on the photo of Marie Francois on our Instagram. Not Mary France Roy, okay, guys? And that's where we pick our winner. And we actually have new stickers that say, I won Name That Video Part, and all I got was this stupid sticker as part of the prize pack. So a lot there. Thank you guys for playing Name That Video Part.
Nice work.
I smell it from
Shout
here.
out to Laurent.
Shout out to Laurent.
Let's hear you say his name versus Grandy's.
I got it. I'm better.
Okay.
Laurent Nicolas Paquin.
That's not right.
That was perfect.
It's Laurent Nicolas. Don't pronounce
Nicolas.
Paquin.
Paquin.
But
Laurent
you did
Nicolas
great. Just sorry
Paquin.
to
It did sound
sorry
French,
to talk
though.
shit.
No, we're good. You're in a
Please
safe
roast
space.
him.
Yeah.
You
Roast
can
him.
take it.
Yeah, we're doing great. As long as I'm better than Bob, that's really all I care
You are
about.
better than Bob.
I always had dreams of having this like beautiful French accent. It just never came true.
No, it didn't, Bob.
Never too late.
I could practice. Next time.
Bob's got a little baby boy.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Luca.
Ah, that's French.
Yep. He's Luca. Yeah,
Well,
it's
how do you
the way
spell-
What
it's
is
spelled
plum?
is like
Plum doesn't
Italian
seem
Spanish version. Luca.
Oh yeah.
Plum
Oh, yeah.
is like Welsh, English, German, or something.
You guys seem
I'm a
Italian.
mutt.
Are you Italian?
I'm not Italian, but I've gotten that. I've also gotten that I look like I'm from Argentina,
Yeah.
from Meg's side of the family.
Where do people not bend their knees a lot? That's where it seems like you're from.
Where do people not get any coordination from? Because I got that.
Hard.
The other brothers got the coordination. What happened to me?
Yeah.
You know,
You're great.
You're doing great.
subpar photographer.
All right, so we've been talking Rome a ton. Fantastic photographer, Bob.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. We've been talking Rome a lot, but then at some point you made the switch on to Arbor.
Yep.
Tell us about that. How did that happen?
It happened actually pretty amazingly. I was at the trade show in Denver, and I was on Rome still, but we were growing apart. Also, like, you know, I think I was going more like hippie route, like enviro, and they were just doing their thing, and that's great. But then I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden this guy hands me a flyer, and it's a Arbor little, I don't know, maybe a party, just like, and I was like, oh, Arbor, and I look up, and it was this guy Dakota who works for Arbor for a long time, and he's like, I'm like, oh, you work for Arbor? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's a brand I would love to ride for. And he somehow knew me. He's like, oh, cool. And then he went back to the booth and he told, I think Sean Black, and he's like, oh, she said that? Like, yeah, let's talk to her. And then, I kind of was like, that's a brand that I'm actually really stoked on. And for their values, you know, they used to be made fun of for sustainability for so long. And now, of course, it's trending to care about the earth all of a sudden. But yeah, I love that about them. They just kept true to their roots. And I just like, I don't know, they make rad boards, it seems like. And then I tried the boards and met Patty. And yeah, like they've been great to me ever since. It's been not 10 years, but close.
Damn.
Talk about fate. You just get a flyer and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, Arbor would be cool to ride for. 10 years later, I'm here.
This has been great.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
I do believe in a lot in that, like in all this type of. Like,
Please
meant to
elaborate.
be-
Please elaborate.
Meant to be like, manifesting, angel cards. Like there's some real good shit that's happened in my life from angel cards.
I would love to just crack open that can of worms because I'm listening.
Well, it's very personal, but but like I don't know. I've always believed in angels, like even generally, like ever since ever since I'm a child. That I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a person. I don't know if it's people I know. I don't know if it's actual fairies or
Your grandparents?
yeah, but I believe in them. Yeah, maybe. I mean. My grandma was really close to passed away, and I think she's one of my angels for sure. But I don't know what it is, but I feel something is, sometimes you land a trick and you're like, that's kind of messed up. Like something like actually made me do this. Has that happened to you? Do you believe
100%.
it's angels?
I'm in the same boat as you. Yeah. But I'm not ready to open up about it. But I'm ready to listen to you open up about it.
Well, like the trick stuff is silly, but like bigger stuff, like things that happen, and I think you can ask for things, and yeah, like just recently in my life, I've had a couple angel cards that were like defining moments, and I don't know. I think it's cool.
What's an angel card? I don't know what that is.
Oh, I mean, I believe in angels. Like you can. In my head, I just talk to them. If I'm scared before hitting something that I'm nervous about, I'll be like, okay, angels, you got me, right? Like, but there's also these angel cards you can buy and like the spiritual stuff and like you pick.
Yep.
Are
they the decks that you pull from?
Yeah.
Oh, my wife loves those. She's all super into those.
Yeah, I'm into those too.
They're different than tarot cards?
They're a bit similar type. Some are, it's all that stuff. I mean, and I'm not like crazy about them, like, but I think it's fun to do.
There's some shit that's just too bizarre that you can't just be like, you got to be like, okay, somebody.
Sometimes when you come out of a sketchy situation or something dangerous has happened and you're okay somehow, you get that like crazy euphoric feeling where you feel like there's presence around you that you can't see.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's protecting you or sometimes it's sending you in a direction that you really needed. I don't know. I believe in that.
100%.
I'm glad you do too.
That. I do too.
You do too. You do?
I do too.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Silk D. I would love to talk more about that, but we can. What about manifestation and all that stuff?
Oh, big time. Like,
do you do anything? Do you have any things that have happened that you accredit that to?
Lots. Like too many that I can count. I mean, I think manifestation is really just you. It's the start of you initiating, right? Like it's just if you need to think it in order for it to happen. So if you don't believe something can happen, then it's gonna be harder to get there.
Good point.
So it's pretty basic.
Yep.
It's not rocket science.
You're just stopping your limited beliefs in some ways.
Yeah, and if you open your mindset that like, you know what, actually this is what I want and I want that. And like if you say it in your head or say it out loud and if you repeat it all the time, I think your decision making is gonna be affected by it and like you remind yourself and it's bound to happen more if you're constantly thinking about it and manifesting it.
Mia Brooks came on the show and she said that after she went to her first X Games, she said she woke up every morning and she said, I'm going to win the X Games this year. And then she went and she won the X Games.
And she manifested her sponsors, right? Was it Audi and Monster?
Yeah, Monster was the main one, I think. Yeah. Yep.
I love that episode. See?
Yep.
It's possible. But I have manifested winning X Games before and did not work. And I've been in a room with Jamie where her first X Games, maybe my first, we were staying together and she's like, you know what, girls, tomorrow, I want to win. And I'm like, no shit, we all want to win. Like, that's so cocky to say it in front of us, you know? But, like, she's not cocky about it. And sure enough, she won. Like, and she never stopped winning ever since. It was so cool. And I think she is a master manifestor.
Oh, she pulls that shit right in.
Insane. Like,
Yeah,
there's no one at that level.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And I mean, Travis, too. Travis is, you listen to him talk.
Yeah.
Just because you can't touch it doesn't mean it's not there. He understands the mystical he's got a great understanding of the mystical, which
definitely
is all I read about. I love all that shit. Yeah. What about splitboarding? You love it now.
You hate it.
I actually no. I'll tell you this.
He's converted.
No, I want to hate it. I want to hate it, but then I go do it and it's fucking awesome and I love it.
Oh, you love it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I sometimes we'll have like an episode we're recording or I've got a full day of office work and I love that I can go do it before the chairlift starts. So I'm at the office at 9 and I've already jammed up and wiggled down some powder and I'm feeling great. And so, yeah, I enjoy, I mean, the snowmobiles or, you know, you get more gravity fed good times, but I like the banter on the skin track. I also like making fun of it too. That's the thing is even though I like it, it's fun to make fun of.
About everything, right?
Yes.
Because you do it and love it, you can't make fun of it.
Yeah.
It's like your best friend.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I love that there's more people doing it. I love that people are becoming more aware of the safety awareness too out there too, because that's definitely like, I think splitboarding exploded, but then we had to reel it in a bit with the safety. But yeah, I think it's healthy for us. And I think it allows a lot of people that snowboarded their whole lives that they're hurting a lot more and they want to get out there and like feel something new and like you appreciate the environment more too when you're splitboarding, right? Yep. You're hearing the nature, you're not scaring the animals, you're slow, so you're like noticing the weird things in the trees, this lichen, and then you Google what it's doing. You know, it's cool. It connects people deeper with the mountains, I think.
I was splitboarding in Scotland.
Oh, cool.
Good question, Bob.
Oh,
no,
I thought you said
me.
went.
No, you. Didn't you go splitboarding in Scotland? Yeah.
Scotland was
Mellow
an
approaches.
amazing trip. Shout out to Yoder for making that whole. I love Yoder. That was his whole idea. He had a book. The book said it was like the 30 least romantic places to snowboard, maybe, or ski in the world. And Scotland was one of them. He's like, let's go there. And it was so rad. And we were there and people were like, this is the worst season in 30 years. And we still had a blast. Like, and the terrain is actually really cool, much more like mountainous than I expected. Like, they're real pioneers of alpine climbing, actually, and I did not know that. And yeah, we had the best time. We were in this pub one time just having a beer, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Are you Marie?" In the Scottish accent. I can't do it really well. And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And her name's Lauren, and she was awesome. Like, we're good friends now. We ended up having a few beers, and next thing you know, we're like, "Do you want to come in the van on this trip with us?" And she's like, "Well, I'd have to take a time off work, but maybe let me make a call." And then she basically took us around Scotland, and she's an awesome snowboarder. She's a huge advocate for POW. Like, she's made movies now. She's a freaking powerhouse of a human being, and we happened to meet her at a pub in Aviemore, middle of nowhere. And yeah, I love the people there. They're just so fired up, and it doesn't take good snow to fire them up, and they're dope. Yeah, it was a great trip.
Wow, I love that.
Fate
again. She's in the flow of life.
She is.
She's in the river of life's energy flowing properly and just getting in it. And
you all are.
That's it, though. That's
too.
it, though. You go to Scotland and you end up with this person because you're not swimming upstream. You're in it. You know, that's
downstream.
You're swimming downstream in the energy flow of life.
We need some of that Scottish perspective here in the Satch. Because we're like, oh, it only snowed 6 inches. I'm not going up. They're like, oh my God, it snowed. What would that be in centimeters? I have no idea.
6 inches? I don't know.
20 cms.
Not even 15. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, not even.
We're spoiled.
I noticed that when you go splitboarding, you bring your dog with you sometimes. We ever see some violent tomahawks full speed down the face, or
of me or the dog?
The dog.
We've had a couple close calls where the dog ended up in like pretty serious shoots and a lot of slough moving, a lot of.
How's his slough management?
And that wasn't my dog. It was my landlord's dog. I love that dog, Duchess, and I would always take her on missions. And we went way too far with the dog. Like we went to the $1 million couloir. Like my partner at the time was like, I know this mellow dog walk. I'm like, it was a freaking 12-hour day. And then, but the dog was amazing. And like, we dropped in this coulee and it had just snowed and there was like a lot of snow. She was just swimming in the slough. And I'm like, God, please, let's not kill this dog. I had to carry her out of there because she was exhausted. But yeah, I love taking the dogs. Not on open glacier in November.
If you don't come back with a dog, it sounds like rent's going to get raised.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Bob, my landlord, and he's like the most ultimate OG Pemberton cowboy. Like he's 70 and he's awesome. He's a legend. I feel like he would have forgiven me. But yeah, I would have not forgiven myself.
I was also noticing that you won Baker Banked.
I did the 1 year. I did 1 year that all the really, really fast board cross girls were at the Olympics.
Nice.
They all count.
Win's a win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll take it. Whatever. It was awesome. It was my first one too. It's my first time at Baker. Damn. My first.
Did you ever go back, or were you like, "Yo, I won it. There's no reason to come
back."
No,
I always
here for
go
this.
back. Never won again. I'm still trying to win, but I haven't won since.
Oh, we got a good question from Jess about this. Hang on. Okay, where are we? Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Jess with another guest question for Marie. Okay, obviously I was your biggest fan and stalker, but I would like see you at the gas station in Whistler or like in a parking lot and you'd be like, how's it going? And I'd be like, poor, because I couldn't afford my rent and I was just struggling so hard to make it. And you invited me over to your house to give me a pair of bindings so that I could sell them and make my rent. And I never forgot that. I was just wondering, I guess, like, were you always inviting strangers into your house and giving them things? Or was I just the lucky one? And my second part to that question is I remember going into your living room and of course I was looking at everything because I was like, oh my God, I'm in Marie-Francois' house. But I look and those fucking Transworld Awards that you won the year before, they're sitting in your fish tank. And I couldn't believe it, just covered in algae. Like they weren't even special. So I guess my second part to my question is where do you keep all your awards? Thank you, Chris and Bob and the whole Bombhole crew. Hi, Silk. Hi, Jules. Hi, everybody.
She's the best. Is there anyone better?
Great energy.
Wow. Frick. Yeah, I didn't even remember giving her bindings, but she's not.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is like this huge moment for her life that's like she's thought about forever. You're like, I don't even remember.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
She wouldn't be upset about it, I don't think. She was not a stranger. Like I had seen her put out some videos. I knew she was, and I was like, this chick is sending it. And I mean, I believe it. I know what it's like to move to Whistler and you're broke and it's freaking hard to make rent. So I'm glad. Like, it's no one better to help than Jess, you know. She's helping the most people ever. So that was, yeah. I like, she invited me to her premiere and I went to it. And I think that was really, I didn't realize at the time. I was like, grab my roommates. I'm like, we're going to this premiere party. And they're like, okay. And she was there, and then I spent the night with her and Ben. We chatted till like the end of the night. It was so cool, and I'm just so impressed with how far she's taken it. And there's no one that's worked harder. like even watching your film, Learning to Drown, like I knew that, but seeing all that bail segment, have you seen that? Like, there's no one, female or male, that's eaten that much shit for it and that's been that passionate and worked so hard, and nowadays giving back so much to everyone else. Like, utmost respect for her. And the fish tank. I mean, it's a nice place to put them. Like, yeah, I mean, right?
Yeah, that's JP Walker's something, or Gibber of the Year, I think.
He gave you this award?
Yeah, we're thinking about getting a fish tank and putting it in.
Yeah, I'll send you mine. You can put them
mail
in
it
there.
to us.
Yeah, because they're in a box right now. I don't have a fish tank anymore. So yeah.
So yeah, that's what we want to know. Where are they kept?
I think they're in a box. But I mean, they mean a lot to me. It's not like that. I think that was really cool. I miss those. I know. We should have more of those.
The celebration of the awards. I agree.
I think that was really special, and I think it's really missing nowadays.
I would agree. Yeah, because it's kind of a thing now where it's like announced basically on the internet, and you're like, oh, nice.
Yeah,
and you put your phone back in your pocket and you go back with your life.
It's just not the same. And even for all the people who are the people who are filming, like people who are winning contests, they make $30,000 a freaking weekend, if not more. But like for the people who film in the streets, backcountry, like this is the only recognition you can get. And like even just to get, you don't get a top 10, you get just one. So like it's kind of like. It really helps like elevate those riders, I think. Mm-hmm. So
it's actually a really good thing just for the health of celebrating snowboarding.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Just celebrating our community
yeah. And I would like to see that come back. I know it's expensive, but we can do it.
Call Pat. Call Bridges.
He knows.
Yeah, he's like, oh, God damn it.
We can't put that on him, just on only him, but
yep.
We've talked about it.
We can't put it on him, but if not him, who else is going to do it?
Yeah. We've talked about it a lot.
You will. You will.
You know how hard it is?
Slush bomb hole
award.
Collab? That would actually be
party.
sick. You know what I feel like is actually a big undertaking that people don't realize? We were like, we're going to have a little thing, and we did Trick of the Year last year, and I welded some shit trophies.
That was exhausting.
But when you start going through, that's just one category of like the cream of the crop, craziest bangers, And then we actually had our Instagram people vote. But I think about going through every video and being like, all right, we're going to decide who the rider of the year is, all those things, all those decisions. I guess the Slush do it. You guys pick.
Yeah, we narrow it down as a group, and then from there people vote. But it doesn't matter. Someone's always pissed.
Yeah. Of course.
You know what I mean?
But it's heavy.
I try to tell Stan that I'm like, dude, you can't be so hard on yourself. Like, someone's gonna be pissed no matter what. Exactly. Someone's gonna talk shit. A lot of people are gonna talk shit. You just gotta fucking do it.
You just do your best. You just do your best and use your best judgment, and that's all you can do.
We have been trying to do awards like we're talking about here with Slush. We're trying to figure it out. So it's getting close. It almost happened last year. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, somehow we can make it happen this year. It
was cool when it was with Dew Tour too at the end, because we'd go there for Dew Tour, and then you're getting two birds stoned at once. That's always nice, Or I guess Vegas, it was for the trade show, right?
Yeah.
Or in Denver and all that.
Beautiful venue.
Yep.
Las Vegas. Snowboard.
Good place to get blacked out if you're 18 years old, let me tell you.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't discussed that you breezed over was your broken neck. What happened there?
Yeah, a little case of the broken neck. I think this was a moment of something needing to happen. Like you talked about, like kind of the universe giving you a sign. It was a pretty good sign. I was filming for Absinthe. At the time with Annie and Paul Watt. Shout out to Annie for getting me on that crew. She taught me a lot, that's for sure, and the whole Absinthe crew. Shout out to Hustinek for getting me on. But this was like, I think it was a late March, and I was feeling the pressure. I didn't have many shots. The season was going by, and I just felt like I needed to do something. And that morning, I woke up, I was feeling kind of off, went up. We tried a few things that day that didn't work out. It was a big day. Every crew was out. It was a good day, sunny day, bluebird, get shit done kind of day, big expectations. And yeah, we were not getting shots. And we're like, let's go check out the blowhole in Brandywine. Have you been there?
I have, but I don't know exactly what that is.
It's just a big blowhole feature. It's huge. Like it's a big ice wall, created by the wind.
Yep.
And we pull up to it. Most of the time, people do a wall ride on it.
Yep,
They've done really,
yeah.
And
more front invert.
Probably. I can't keep track of all this stuff that's been done on it, but it's really cool feature. But the way the snow had been blown in, it wasn't really a wall ride scenario. And I was like, what are we going to do? We're just standing there. So I'm like, I'm just going to go in from the top. I'm just going to air from the top and land on ice. It's going to be sick. Right? I didn't want to go huge, but 15, 20 feet. I just thought the feature was cool, and I was desperate. And Paul, our filmer, he's so amazing. He's like, okay, I got up there, and you couldn't stand on top because there was kind of a cornice. The takeoff was a cornice overhanging. And I just didn't want to really mess with that at all. And it looked like POW. The run-in was all POW. And right before I dropped in, Paul, the filmer, said, are you going to go really slow, right? And I was like, yeah, I will. And then in my head, I'm like, you always go too fucking slow. Don't be a pussy. And so I dropped in, and it was fine. It was POW. And then the last 7 feet looked like POW, but it was rock hard. So I, just when I thought it would scrub a bit more speed with the POW, I accelerated even more. And as soon as I was in the air, I was like, that's it. I'm for sure blowing both my knees. But that's the best case scenario, because if I land on my back, I'm gonna break my back. And it was, and the shot doesn't really do it justice, but because there's a bit of snow covering the ice. But yeah, in the air at the time to be hey, land on your feet and you'll blow both your knees. And I did. And I didn't blow my knees, but it whipped me to the back, and my head tilted backwards. And I didn't know at the time. I was out of breath. I was sitting there. They all came to me and are you okay? I was like, I think I'm fine. I could feel my legs. I had tingling in my arms, but I was fine. I was like, yeah, I think I can get up. And I just tried to get up, and I couldn't even move an inch, nothing. And I had the sharpest pain in my neck. And I was like, okay, I'm not able to move at all. Then he called the heli. And it was a C2 fracture. The doctors were like, you're so lucky, because it's the same fracture as when you hang yourself. So basically it's they're like, you're so lucky that it was a stable fracture, because it would have stopped your breathing instantly if it touched your spinal cord. So I had angels, I had angels. And it was a crazy day. The same day Hayden Wrench broke his arm or something.
Femur or leg.
Leg.
He broke his leg or his femur.
Yeah, and the heli went to him first, and they're like, are you the neck injury? And he was really hurting. And they were like, no. So then the heli left him, came to get me. I think JP Walker was in an Avi maybe that day too. It was a hectic day in the backcountry.
Damn.
But all is fine. And yeah, I kind of needed that trigger, just that event to reassess and this is during my recovery that I got the idea to do the little things. This is when I took the course to build that house, and that really gave me grounding and reassessing what I was wanting in my life moving forward, and how would I continue to keep snowboarding, push myself, and do it for a living, but in a ways that is not so pressure based,
What's the healing process like for that?
The healing process?
Yeah.
They told me a year recovery, but I was literally vacuuming the house 2 weeks later with my
the neck brace.
With the neck brace.
Yep.
It's so funny. I have good stories about the neck brace. Do you know this place called Elbow Room in Vancouver? It's this place where the servers are these really rude gay guys, and and I walk in there with I think it was Gabe Oatsy at the time, my Red Bull TM, and I walk in there in my neck brace. And like they're really rude to you, and it's a really small place, and they're really loud, so they embarrass you in front of everyone. And they're like, "Well, that girl's not licking dick in no time."
Oh my god!
And amazing. I was like, "Well, already have." And she's like, "That's right." Like they were like, "That's my girl," and then we just had such a blast. But the neck brace I had to wear for 4 months, and that's it. Like, you know, I'm pretty lucky. Like, it was stable. I was surfing 4 months later, and I think we filmed the Shred Remains that following winter. So in December, I was already hitting rails in freaking Minneapolis with Johnny Laz and LMP.
It's a good movie, and you had a good part in that.
Thank you. It was like a recovery year for me. It was like, okay, fighting the demons. Like, can you do this? And but yeah, it was great. Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, that's the thing I think is interesting too, because I think generally a lot of times injuries are generally viewed as a bad or negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like you looked at it as a gift in some ways, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or in hindsight, at least?
Oh, yeah. I needed that. I mean, I didn't want that, but I think it totally happens for a reason. It happened for a reason for me. That's what I choose to believe. Because, yeah, I think in any challenges that happens, something good should come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes harder than others, but
yeah, it's just being able to see it.
Yeah, because you have nothing to gain and just playing the pity card and just being sad about yourself forever. Like, you're allowed to process for a while, but eventually you got to see the good and move forward.
Yeah, I feel like it's always good to force chilling in some ways. Like, everything's moving quick, you get hurt, and you're like, can't really do much. Chilling, I got to assess.
For sure,
what's going on here.
Also, though, I've been pretty lucky with injuries. Like, so many people they're injured year after year. That must be really hard. And to be fair, I haven't had to deal with that. So grateful, because that would be an extra load of patience.
Yeah, 100%.
That's required.
Yep. I was with Frank when he broke his neck. It was, I don't want to say funny, but also... He fucking fell in Connecticut on this rail, and then he got destroyed. But he like went and he had them. He landed on his leg. So he's like, I think I broke my leg, and they're like, they did an MRI or X-ray or whatever. They're like, your leg's good. It's just really bruised. But if I remember correctly, he didn't really like put a lot of attention towards his neck, because it was really bad whiplash, you know, and. But he was walking around and he's like, doctor said I'm good in 1 week. And he'd be like, oh, and like, he'd be like driving and be like, he couldn't check his side view or his rearview mirror. So he had been like literally cruising around with a broken neck, like driving the van around and everything.
Oh my God.
And then he's like, doctor said I'm good in 1 week. And like 1 week to the day or whatever the doctor said it was, he's like, I'm going to do this switchback too. I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, I've been watching you walk around, bro. You can't turn your head from left to right. He'd be like, oh, like everything he did was like, it was all on one plane, you know? He couldn't turn his neck. And then he fucking tried this gap to ledge, and in the air, he's like, oh,
oh my God.
And he tried to gap, I think back two or switch back two with a broken neck. Really not good. He ended up being okay. He was in a neck brace for a while, but
broken neck, back deux.
Back deux. Yeah, back deux.
Wow, I didn't know. He didn't realize he had a broken neck.
Yeah,
and still hitting spots.
But trust me, as his friend, we were also like, dude, I don't know if you should snowboard. You seem really dinged up right now.
He's so wild. He's a wild man.
Yeah, he is. Have you had some good times partying with him, with Arbor and all that?
Anytime with Frank is spectacular. Yeah.
And you're in town for Sean Black's wedding.
Yep. And it's coming up Friday. Mm-hmm. Really excited. Like, yeah, really stoked. I've known Sean for a long time. We're close friends. Yeah, really excited to celebrate those two, him and Sophia.
That's special. Frank will be a sight for sore eyes this weekend, I'm sure.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
He's coming on his own. It's going to be wild.
Oh, wow.
I expect nothing less. Maybe he's changed.
Bad.
Probably not.
Probably not in that scenario.
Bad day to be a bottle of Grand Marnier. I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
Peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. One thing that came up, which we're just bouncing all over the place, who gives a shit? But one thing that came up I thought was interesting. I was talking to Ben Bullock, and he was mentioning like advocacy burnout, activists, or no, he called it activist fatigue, which I'd never thought about, like where you're kind of, and I know we talked about this earlier, but like to put myself in your shoes really is interesting, thinking about, you're out there, you're advocating, you're using your platform, but then, the burnout that comes along with that at times.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like once you open that door, then you get more opportunities and people want you to talk more about it. And I like to talk about it, but with that comes the critics, like we talked about. And I don't know, at some point, I just, I want to be an advocate, but at the same time, when all you get is negative, you're like, okay, like, this is kind of bullshit. Like, I still want to I still want to live my life and, have a good time. Like, and that, like, I think that's what he's referring to. We talked about that with him. And this is why I try to keep a balance once again. Balance is always the key word here. And that's why, I'm not like, a lot of people ask me to speak at events on behalf of that. And I'm not a great speaker. I don't want to spend my entire year speaking about it. I don't want to be like the spokesperson. I don't think that's my role. I want to represent it, but at the same time, I think I struggle to do it at like this intensive of a level, and I want to do it with more balance. I think that's why the event Triple Blanket allows me to bring that aspect of thing, but also for it to be fun and not so much like in people's face, like, here's what I think and this is what we should do. And I don't know what we should do. I don't have the solution. I'm just saying I care. And like when you get shit on by everyone just for saying you care about something, then you're trying to like bring positive change, and you're like, okay, fine then. I won't say anything then. Like, that's kind of what happened, but it's better now. I think it's better, and I'm happy with the balance that I have, and I'm happy to do more. And it comes and goes, right? Like there's like a few years ago, I went to Fairy Creek. That was like a really cool experience to be at such a empowering protest and like be with that many people who are willing to take action, time off from their lives to show up and for something that they care about, and that's so beyond just themselves, like for the benefit of the society as a whole. So that was probably some of the most inspiring kind of activism I've been a part of, I would say. And that was a period that was like more involved, but then it comes and goes, and like I think it's good to be involved, but at the same time it doesn't need to be all that you're doing. So yeah, if that makes sense.
I have some questions. Good on you for that. But I have some questions about the Triple Blank.
Mm-hmm.
So can anybody sign up?
Yeah.
It's open. Okay. And then how does the judging work? Because you have skateboarding, surfing, snowboarding's a bank slalom. That's easy.
Yep. It's easy, but we're loose. And we've been known to mess up the results.
Yep.
Not purposely.
Yep.
Not on purpose.
Is it hand timed?
It was. The first year was a
Holy.
hand time with 2 iPhones and 2 like walkie-talkies. Yoder was at the top and I was at the bottom, and it was so ghetto.
That's insane.
But now we have a real timing system and it works great, but sometimes it misses a couple people. I'm sorry.
I've seen that happen at the bomb hole event, and people were pissed.
Yes.
They're not happy when that happens. They don't like that.
Chris took last place, and there was like no way he took last place, but he did, I guess.
You got last place?
Fine.
That's not what happened. No.
Maybe you were that slow.
In the pro class, I was definitely at the bottom. I was at the bottom of the order. But anyway, this is not a. We're not.
It's not about your last
It's
place.
not about my last place. I did get a trophy. It's up there. Biggest name, biggest time.
That's awesome. Congrats. We love those trophies. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we really don't like when people come in too serious. It's a fundraiser.
Yep.
And if you're going to be a bit of a too serious kind of prick, you know, things might happen. It's not us, the angels.
Oh, wow.
The angels are going to put you in last place.
No, not at all. But we have done mistakes because it's a lot, right? You have people's times from the bank slalom, and then you get a surf score where everybody surfs only once for 20 minutes against 4 more people, but you're judged individually. There's heats.
Okay.
And you're judged individually, so it doesn't matter who's in your heat, and you're not surfing again, even if you, because we have to run 120 surfers in a day.
That seems like a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. It's a logistical nightmare. And then the skate is the same thing. You know, we've had these guys from Antisocial, Michelle and Rick, come judge for us. And Scotty Ray, a bunch of homies too. And normally, like, they watch the skate comp and like, yeah, these guys are the best, put them in finals. And then you pick the winners from those top 5, top 10. But we need a score from everyone. We need a different score from everyone. And it's a nightmare, right?
Yes.
And it's hectic.
Yes,
and
it
like,
is.
even just the warm up during the skate comp, we've had some injuries. It's wild because you got the groms, you got like some skaters are pretty much pro skaters. You have a lot of people who don't skate much that are
They're just trying to salvage some points.
yeah,
trying
that
to
they're
salvage some points.
terrified to skate and just running around and not looking where they're going. So it's hectic.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a lot of different levels in one place in a short amount of time. But it's fun.
I bet people have an awesome time though.
Yeah, it
Except
sounds
for the
sick.
serious Larrys, they probably don't have that much fun.
Yeah. But yeah, whatever. It's fine. Just I'll get over it. Yep.
What? Yeah, so then, can you surf over on the side if you're not surfing? Is there like another zone you can go?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that would be gnarly to sit around all day and be like, okay, here's my 20 minutes. I got a bust.
It is not a high stress environment.
Okay.
The skate comp probably because everyone's watching, but at the beach,
Do most
no one cares.
people like camp, or how does that work?
Yeah, so thanks to Mount Washington, they are the best, and they let us all camp in the parking lot for the snow portion, which is amazing. And the whole resort is closed, so we have the whole resort to ourselves. They run the chair for us for super cheap for the day. And then, so the night before people come in, camp in the lot. Next day we snowboard, then we have the awards for snow, drive 3 hours to the coast. Next day we have surfer skate. The next day we have skate. And then we have a day for like a period of restoration. So people can go volunteer with Redfish and learn about what they're doing, get their hands dirty, either plant stuff or get rid of invasive species and stuff like that.
That sounds like a pretty gnarly undertaking.
Yeah, and there's a concert, it's on an auction. And like, yeah, we had a great mosh pit last year. It was great. It was awesome.
That's amazing. I'm sorry, I'm just really interested in this. So there's like pro class, grom class, open, or is that how you run it?
It's
Or-
all one class.
It's all one class. Okay.
Well, because it's so hard, right? Because you can't have a pro class because we don't have enough pros. And like you can be a pro skater, but you suck at surfing.
Yeah, good point.
You know, and you can like, or vice versa. So, and that's why Austin wins every year.
Austin, Sweden?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I could see
He's
that.
the best. But I think he could be challenged. We need, like, he feels bad to enter now because he's so nice. He's like, oh no, I've won so many times. I won't enter. But he's really good. And Mary ran too. She's won a bunch too.
saw
So
that.
we need some challengers. And we have some coming. Yeah.
Let's
what
put
about
that out
Raz?
there. Cronin.
Can Raz skate? Raz is probably fast. And
Rasman came this year. I was so excited about that. And but yeah, this year was kind of a bifecta because we didn't get the skate.
oh, it's a bifecta.
It wasn't the trifecta. It was yeah. But I think Raz can skate, but probably not, let's say, as good as Austin. No offense, Raz. I think you're.
Austin's a dog.
We'll wait till we see it. Maybe Razman will take it.
Be out there foiling.
He's a great surfer. Rasmussen's a menace in the water.
Yep.
He'll foil over everybody.
Yeah, just foil your head off. Silk, we got a Patreon from John Martin. Why don't you tee that thing up in your beautiful new zone over there?
Yeah, shout out John Martin. A lot of Patreon questions from John Martin. Thanks for supporting. What up, Marie? There's a lot of legendary snowboarders from Quebec. How did that impact your riding, and at what point do you think being a pro was possible? What made you make the big move to Whistler?
Yeah. John Martin, shout out. What a dude. Big part of our community up there. He's the best. Yeah, I think we had some great pioneers before us, at least my generation. Like, you know, we looked up to DCP, Etienne Gilbert, Etienne Tremblay, Mike Page, even Annie, Priscilla Levac. These were like the ones who made it before us. But I think yeah, those guys, Bandwagon and Deja Vu, like they had something really special, you know, that they really grew together and they were shining together. That was so magical. And yeah, I was lucky because they invited me. Oli Gagnon. He helped me a ton too. He's the first person to bring me sledding ever. That's really sweet. And then he invited me on that trip when we went across Canada all together. I think it was 14 of us. And we hit spots on the way, and with Ben Fee was there too. And yeah, I think it really helped to have that motivation from those guys and see their success. But it all happened at once, I think, for all of us. Like, I think we all were just kind of about to be noticed, maybe.
A good French-Canadian wave. That was a good wave.
It was cool to see, too, because I came from the boonies. I didn't really have a crew like them. So to see, like, their crew and how much they knew each other, that was really inspiring. And, like, seeing their dynamics. Yeah, I was really stoked to be able to witness that and be a part of it for a bit there.
We have the photo of your board slide on a big kink that made it in Snowboarder.
Oh, yeah. That was an aggressive kink.
Will texted me that photo.
Oh, that's
really cool. So is that your first photo in like a major mag? Road trip?
Probably. I think I had maybe a checkout in Snowboarding mag from Super Park, maybe the same year, the year before. But yeah, it was definitely the first few images published. It was awesome.
Shout out Ollie G. It seems like the French Canadians stick up for each other.
They do. They really do. And I think hopefully everyone does. Maybe like, do the Euros stick out for each other? Yeah, I think it's important. And I think there's a really good culture in snowboarding back there. Like even like there's a lot of events still, and I hope that it continues because we don't have the greatest mountains, but the love for snowboarding is true. And it's deep. It runs deep. Mm-hmm.
And the level of perfection is annoying. If you're coming from, it is annoying.
It's got to be hard because it's like the French don't want to claim you and the Canadians don't want to claim you. So you're kind of just like, are you going to secede?
You're talking about Quebecois?
Quebec.
Yeah.
Quebec.
Oh.
Are you going to leave?
What are you?
Secede the Canadian Union country.
I don't know. My dad was separatist, but I'm not separatist. I don't care. I think we can all get along. I get the reasons why. I get the reasons behind separatism, but I think it's a lot of history, and at this point, there's still a lot of people who want that. But personally, I mean, I'm happy to be together.
Just to be clear, I don't know anything about that.
I
that
know.
was a joke that backfired. Just delete that.
You seem to know a lot about it. I was like, wow, I don't know if I know enough myself to.
Delete.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
We got one more Jess Kimura question. Let's tee this thing up. We had a 3-pack occur. We had a trifecta, if you will.
Yes.
Here we go.
Guys, it's Jess here with a guest question for Marie. Marie, your video parts in any means, no correct way, shred remains, those literally changed my life and changed the trajectory of my life. I have so many questions I could ask you, but I will ask you this. What is your favorite video part that you've ever filmed? And I know you hate to talk about yourself, which is very ironic because you're on a podcast having to talk about yourself. I'm sure you're very uncomfortable, but I just want you to know that you inspired so many people and literally changed lives. When there was nobody to look to, you were there like a fucking beacon for all of us. So I love you, and I can't wait to listen to the episode. Bye.
Wow. She's a beacon of light. She's changing lives right now. Thanks, Jess. You're way too nice to me. Favorite part? I think I'm torn between. Of course, everybody thinks any means, and that's probably my favorite part still. But I'm still really proud of the little things part because that was kind of against the grain. It was more self-produced, and it had backcountry in it, and it was more. Yeah, I think both equally. I would say those two. Yeah,
like it. Kevin mentioned something that when you had a board with Rome, there was a sticker that came with it or something. It was like a scratch off.
The Live Nude Dudes.
Yeah, Live Nude Dudes. Yes,
Live Nude Dudes.
Because that makes sense because there was the Live Nude Girls board that was like a light. I remember that.
Yes, so there was this. They decided to do these limited edition boards for some riders, not an actual pro model, but kind of, but just limited. And they're like, Marie, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want a Live Nude Dudes board, like just because the Live Nude Girls was such a hit. And they're like, no, that's not gonna sell. Like that's too much. I'm like, why not? Like this is sick. Like you can have Live Nude Girls, but not Live Nude Dudes. And someone, I don't remember who it was, in the office vouched for me and like, no, I think that's a good idea. And they went ahead, and you could scratch and there's a chip and nails under it in the store, because they didn't want to have that. Like for the Live Nude Girls board too, you had to scratch to see the girls underneath. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it was kind of a statement, and it sold out instantly.
Nice.
Boom.
That's sick.
That's amazing. And then one thing we also didn't talk about is the switch to getting on Patagonia.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were on Oakley forever.
I was on Oakley for a long time, kind of like head to toe eyewear and outerwear. And yes, a good friend of mine brought up the opportunity to talk with Patagonia. And I was like, obviously that's like a dream sponsor for sure. And yeah, and it was a bit tough at the time because I had a great relationship with Oakley, for a long time. They done so much for me. Shout out to Liesl Holt. She was our female team manager for such a long time, and she did so many great projects for us. Like even that Any Means part, those Oakley funded a lot of those trips that were, allowing me to get footage. It wasn't just Rome, obviously, and Red Bull as well, but. Yeah, it was hard because I had to leave eyewear. I couldn't keep Oakley eyewear and go for Patagonia. So, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? Like, I love the values of Patagonia as a brand, and this is what I want in my life more. And it's so rare, right? That you can be with a brand that you fully like back through and through. I mean, it's not that rare, but for me, it was hard to find. And yeah. It's been a while already. It's an amazing team, and I just love their whole like mantra. Like we're in business to save our home planet, and the fact that they just gave the company to all this. Like basically, like did you know about that?
Yep.
Like all the profits, and 100% of the profits are now going to these environmental organizations. Like nobody else in business in the world has done that. It's so unbelievable and admirable, and I couldn't be more proud to be with a brand like that. I think we need more of these companies. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Love it. Like it's just everything just falls into place.
Yeah,
everything happens for a reason.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the energy river. Let's get into hot takes. What do you think about that, Silk?
That sounds like a good time for hot takes.
What do you think, Bob?
I love it.
What do you think about the new studio, Bob?
I think the new stew is nice, especially of the smudge.
After the smudge?
Yeah, watch me.
Does the energy feel right?
The energy lifted. Let's just say that.
Okay.
You can see a behind the scenes smudge on our website at Thebombhole.com.
Bombhole.com, yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into hot takes here. We always start off with the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I always like to say, like, your GOAT. Who's yours? You know, not statistic based, you know, or you can take it however you want. Both male and female. Who you got?
I'm like a fries and salad kind of girl. You know, I kind of want a half and half on the plate. You know? So I want to give a shout out to Jamie, but because she's incredible, but I want to pick Jess as my GOAT because how much she's worked for it and how much she's given back. I think that's the freaking dopest. So that's my GOAT. Obviously, Travis, admire you all the way. But I kind of want to keep it fun, like a maybe Aero Etala. You know,
I like that.
I love that.
I think he just like really killed it in the streets. He killed it at competing, killed it at video parts. He had so many first tricks, never been done. He's such a funny dude, and he's still ripping. He's still loving to snowboard. I think that's pretty sick. It's inspiring.
I heard he's sitting on a heater part. I heard like an insane one he's been working on for 3 years, right?
No way.
Yeah, I think he's about to drop some fire this fall.
I did not know that.
Are we not allowed to talk
confirm.
about that? Allegedly.
I can confirm.
See, that's so cool.
Yep, that's goated material. This one really pisses people off. I'm pretty sure I don't even really like this question myself, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you consider snowboarding an art form or a sport?
I'm saying art form just because sport sounds like coaches, and I don't like it.
Perfect. Who's one of the more underrated riders in your opinion?
Okay, this is a lot of sides, but I'm gonna go for dudes. I'm gonna go with 3: Dustin Craven, Worm,
Great answer.
and there was one more. J-Rob.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think they're incredibly talented and not getting nearly as much as they should. And there's more. There's way more. And on the women side, Kalia. She deserves more. Yeah. She's amazing. Yep.
Solid.
Good answers.
Steel or powder?
Both. I love both. I really do love both. Of course, now I'm going to pick powder if you ask me which one I want now the most, but I just respect the steel so much. I love to see that the streets is alive and well and the culture is not being left behind, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
If you had to rank it, steel, slushy park, powder, groomers, how would it go?
Well, powder. Like now?
Yeah, now.
What now? Okay, well, powder, groomer, slushy park, powder, slushy park, groomer. What do you mean? Like hit runs?
Yeah, just groomers, just cruising.
Yeah, hit runs. Okay, and then steel, just because I'm gonna be realistic. You're asking me now. I'm not gonna claim I can go film some clips in the streets right now.
Okay.
You might be able to get a combination of POW and steel if you take your Splitboard to rail gardens and you could pour and hit the rails on the Splitboard. What do you think, Chris?
You're sad. It's
low
okay.
angle.
It's okay. I'm just talking present. Like I said, my love is there, but I'm not gonna lie that I'm powder hungry right now.
Yeah. That's a great answer. It's fun. It's fun stuff. Who's got your favorite style on a snowboard?
Favorite style? I'm gonna go with Jody Wagniak. I love his style. Like I just think he pokes everything so good, and I know he's not going for like the sickest, biggest tricks, but who cares? I think he has such good style doing it. And shout out to the man boys; they're the best. And for girls, Jill Perkins.
Yeah, that's great.
I love her style. She's such a boss.
Okay. Who's got your favorite method?
This is hard. Maybe Ben Ferg, Haley Langland. I think they have great methods.
Damn, great answer. I always forget about Haley's.
She
Haley's
has
got a really good method.
Yes, really great. So many people do though. It's hard. It's hard to pick.
Yep. Yeah, she almost like won the Bombhole Cup. I wasn't a judge, but she did the Bombhole Cup this year, and just did a method over the jump. She was kind of hurt riding like at 50%, but the method was just insane.
Pole jam method, right?
She did it on the jump too.
Yeah.
But I think she did pole jam method as well. Memory's a little fuzzy. Okay, keeping it moving. What's your favorite snowboard video ever made?
Simple Pleasures. For sure. I mean, this is one of the only ones I actually own and watched a lot. So, to be honest, but I loved it. I was in love with JP Walker, big time.
Respectable answer. What's your favorite snowboard graphic ever made? Ben
Belloq's Trump graphic.
Not live nude dudes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice too, but I like his better.
Yeah. Okay, if you could go heliboarding 3 people in the heli, just good times, who you throw in there? You got 3 seats.
I'd like to take my brothers because they never heliboarded, so that'd be nice. And Greta. I know she's a skier, but she's one of my best friends, and she hasn't gone heli skiing much either, if at all, I think, somehow. And she's a boss.
Okay, if you could have one dream sponsor in the world, any brand, doesn't have to be in the snowboard world, what would it be?
Probably a garden store.
Garden store?
Yeah, buy a lot of cool plants and trees and succulents and shit.
Sick. I love that.
Yep, I like it.
Or food, like just a credit card, like all the food you want. Like, oh my God, I love food. I love eating out. I love eating in, whatever. Love good food. It's the best thing of life.
Sounds like we need like a grocery store
that has a garden section.
Like a super Walmart, actually, is what I'm actually thinking of. Super Walmart.
Not Walmart, but
Okay.
something.
A mom and pop's version of a super Walmart.
Target. It's totally different.
Yeah, not Target either.
Okay. Worst trend. Societally, snowboarding doesn't matter. Choose your own adventure.
I guess I just maybe would like to see more humility. Just maybe. Like more humility being rewarded instead of attitude and cockiness rewarded.
I love that answer. That's good. Okay. Well, that was hot takes. I feel great about it.
Great
Nice.
answers.
Yeah. What do you think, Silk?
Incredible.
Well,
Nailed it.
Thank you, guys.
I think we went through all the guest questions. We always like to ask setups. What snowboard are you running? Bindings, angles, the whole 9.
I am running the Arbor Veda, like usually in the powder. That's like, I mean, I ride all the other female boards too, but this is my pro model. Thanks, Arbor. No big deal. And we're actually going to give one away.
Okay.
Too.
How are we going to do that? This is news to me.
I don't know. I need you to come up with something.
Favorite comment on the gram?
Yeah, favorite comment on YouTube. Yeah.
Favorite comment on YouTube.
Favorite comment on YouTube. Just doesn't have to be in regards to anything. Just our favorite comment. Very vague.
Yep, I like that.
And we will find you. And tell me about this Veda.
The Veda is like a powder machine, okay? So it's been built to more like big mountain riding, but you can ride it on the resort, whatever. I ride it in the park. I've hit steel with it. It's been really cool to work with Arbor. I've had the Pro Model for about 3 years. This current graphic that we're giving away is some artwork they done from my friend Carlos Mack. I mean, he's not a close friend, but he's someone from the community where I live that I really look up to, and he's from the Toquat Nation, so it's his artwork on it. And and we're giving Sequoia bindings with it, so matching artwork. And it's just a great weapon out there in the mountains.
Floater in POW?
It's a floater. It's a stomper. It's everything you manifest it to be.
And then how much input did you have in the design process?
Quite a lot. Like, obviously, like, I'm not a super technical person. So, I mean, like, the details of, like, okay, edge cut in like this is this part where I'm like, okay, you guys decide it. But like they have amazing people working there. George, and I mean Eddie was in charge of the product for a long time. He wasn't so involved at the beginning, but they followed. Like I basically wanted something like the Mule Air, kind of, and so they went from that idea and then they expanded it and made it our own. And and then they made it unisex. At first it was a female board, then it was unisex, and so it's cool. It's really exciting to also work on the graphics. Like they're pretty open-minded, and sometimes I just give a general idea and their own designers are so good and they'll come up with something fabulous just based on what I send them. So yeah, I'm so lucky to get to do that. Thank you, Arbor.
That's awesome. And then did we talk about angles? How you set it up?
Oh yeah, it changes. I don't know. I'm an experimenter. I don't measure anything, but usually it's around 18, 21 the front, and like I've been coming in a bit in the back. I'm like, I used to be pretty duck, and now I'm like a bit like sometimes posy. I tried posy on this like mantra. The mantra. This is an Arbor board they're working on, like Japanese style, really like really carving board, and that's the first time I went posy. I actually raised the derby with it. They were like, can you try this board? And my other board was not sharp at all, and it was so icy. So I was like, I'm gonna just race with this sample board, and it was incredible. Really, like posy, like you can really lay into turns. I never experienced that before.
And how'd you do with this board? Just because results speak.
I won it. Can you believe that?
Wow.
That sounds cocky. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. I teed you up for that.
You did.
You know what they say in moto? Win on Sunday, sell bikes on Monday.
Okay.
Win on Saturday, sell bikes on Monday because nobody races on Sunday. But I butchered that. I'm sorry. Let's stay focused. We're derailing. All right, that's fantastic. What's next for Mary France Roy?
Love it. Looking forward to another really great season. I think Leanne is doing Full Moon too. Woo! So we're going to be filming with that. Hopefully going to see a lot of new talent being involved, and hopefully we're going to be able to like mentor them into it and get ourselves some good days in the backcountry all together. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm doing a project with Jess as well. We had an awesome trip to Japan last year, and we might do something more. We might go again and finish what we started. I'm not sure yet, but it was actually my first time filming with Jess proper, and it was so freaking awesome. It was my first time meeting Kalia, and we had such a blast. It was incredible. And so yeah, I would be really stoked to film with them again. And other than that, I'll be in Pemby and going where the river takes me.
Love it. Oh, well, thank you so much for chatting us. Do you want to throw out any thank yous before we wrap this thing up?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you to everybody, of course, that have helped me. Thanks to my brothers, my parents. Thanks to all the brands that have supported me over the years. Thanks to all the people I've mentioned, Kevin, like Lisa, all the people that have allowed me to shine at this potential. I'm so grateful, and thanks to all my friends and thanks to all my sponsors who continue to support me. I never thought a career could last this long, and I'm sorry for milking it, but I'm feeling very grateful, and I hope I can give back enough to make it worth it.
Wow. Beautiful stuff. What a great show.
Wow,
Bob.
that was fucking sick.
Bob, did you have a good time?
Had a great time.
Silk T?
Beautiful time. Glad to be back in the studio.
Mofo, did you have a good time?
Great time. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, sharing your story. Appreciate it. All of our Patreon members, all of our sponsors, everybody that tunes in and listens, thank you guys so much. And Bob, why don't you give us a sign off?
Thank you for listening, and that's the bomb hole out.